Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Oh, let me put my camera back on. Excellent. Hello, Rachel. Hello, 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 hello. I love it. I love it. All right. So yeah, we were very focused because that was a Facebook Live, and Beena's just encouraging, and it's kind of a Beena project to do the more Facebook Lives and on specific topics. So we've got a whole list of them. So and to keep it relatively short, like half an hour plus or minus. So the kind of length that we were on. So I'm very pleased you could join, Rachel. Very pleased to join. How are you otherwise? How are you otherwise?
I'm getting there.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, it's a process. It's a process, and as long as there's movement, there's hope. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the key. That's the key. If you ask everybody in this, we've all been in spaces and places, where our journey has been like, but that's it. It's just that capital P persistence. This is what makes the difference.
Exactly. I've loaded the picture back up.
You what?
I've loaded that picture back up. Decided I'm doing nothing now. Might as well finish the picture.
Oh, good, good, good. Well, just email it to Beena. She is very keen to have a copy of it, even if it's not finished. Just email her a copy. So, you have her email address?
I do, yeah, but
Okay.
I don't like giving people unfinished projects.
Oh, I see. It's just that picture is very important to Beena. It really. She's not just saying for politeness. Oh, I want it. It's very meaningful and very significant and very important to Beena. So
But it's very specific as well to her, I suppose.
Say that again.
It's very specific to her as well, I suppose.
Yes, exactly. But it has more to it for her. So and to her, it's completely finished. It's more than enough already. So I know you might not feel that way, but that's what I'm saying. Just feel free to send whatever, because to Beena, it's more than enough. What's there already, more than enough, and she's just very keen to have it even in its current state, whatever that is, because to her it is complete, it is more, it is magical. Yes, it can be more, can be added to more. That's always there's always more, right?
The only thing is, the only reason why I've still not finished it is because when I started this picture, I only had a very basic understanding of the drawing style. And now that I've started doing it more and more and more, I've started working more with colour, started doing like better lines.
Gotcha.
And overall, my art has just improved.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Oh wow! Yeah, but
So
see, Beena's a bit concerned that Beena's a bit concerned that this might be a never ever ending project, and that she'll never get to see that picture.
Oh no! It's
Okay,
I just pushed it further backwards because I'm more focused right now on trying to improve my art, because I want to get into a job. I want to do a job surrounding it. I want to become a concept artist for video games and stuff.
Brilliant.
Well as doing my special effects.
Gotcha. Cool. But yeah, I mean, maybe just send it to her as under the title of work in progress, or rough draft, or whatever you want to call it, or draft one maybe, or something like that.
It's literally just the hair and some of the clothes that I just need to do.
Gotcha.
I mean,
gotcha. I love it. I love it.
If I've got a decent picture to show you how far I've come, I'll have a little look see. But
okay, that would be cool. That would be cool. Lindsay, who just is fantastically joining us right now, most appropriate time. Just to catch you up, Lindsay, in a joint, in a group Zoom, Rachel was drawing and painting, and she was drawing all of us in the group, and she made this collage. And then also, very particularly, she drew Beena as Rachel sees Beena, and that drawing of Beena was very important to Beena, and that's what Beena was asking about. She still hasn't received the copy, and she absolutely wants it. But it ties in to Rachel I'm sorry, to Lindsay, Rachel, there's a similarity here, right? And I love this overlap. Rachel, Rachel, you're doing the same thing in a way. That's why I'm conflating the names. Lindsay did a project of journaling her personal journey through drawing in over 75 days, where she was at on these cards. And then you asked me, right, Lindsay, to help you articulate what's
Yeah.
on the card. And then when you came on today, you said we could maybe even do this in group, which I thought was a fantastic
Yeah.
idea also. So I'm actually keen to do both, Lindsay,
Yeah.
and I would recommend maybe we start off to do a couple, just between the two of us. And actually, I
Okay.
don't know if you ever come to Sedona, but we can do them in person. Is
Okay.
be good. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Because for me to physically be in contact with your picture, it's going to be different to seeing it over the internet.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know how often you
Yeah.
come out here to Sedona.
Some of
You're in Cornwall, right?
yeah, I come there often.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
So yeah, and we can meet wherever. I mean, I could come out to Cornwall too if need be. So
okay.
so yeah, yeah. So I'm keen to do that. So that the reason I'm saying that we connect personally and individually first is so that we can just get the feel and the baseline and the paradigm, and then to extend it to the group will be a lot simpler and easier.
Yeah,
But to
I
do
agree.
this and we can do both as well, to individual and group. This would be a
Yeah.
fantastic project. In the same way as Rachel, when we did that, it was a group activity because we were talking about stuff, and as we're talking about, I had a screen share up, or Rachel had screen share up. She was doing it, you know, um, simultaneously. So it was really just magical. And then, of course, the perceptions and interpretations and conceptions of how we are being perceived and how Rachel is perceiving us in the mornings. So yeah, very magical, very, very, very magical. Really cool, really cool. You enjoy that? I'll chat. I'll Zoom. Lindsay.
Yes,
Okay.
very much so.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. I because when there's more, it's hard always to get everybody to say all that they can say. There's always more to say. So I just like to check. I don't like to assume ever as much as I
Right.
possibly can. It seems to me that you're enjoying and it's meaningful to you and it has value. We aren't trying to do things which are valuable and meaningful to others. It's never our intent. We are always focused on what is meaningful and valuable to us, and we are sharing in a free way what is meaningful and valuable. If somebody gets value from it, brilliant, but
Right.
that's not the intent, because it's like art. If you start making art for others, it corrupts your art. Yes.
Right.
Right. Corrupts
Well,
your art. Now, yes, you can do things on commission and it's a different intent, it's a
yeah.
different skill. Now you are shifting to taking their vision and applying it. That's an entirely different exercise, right? But the two are
Right.
very, very distinctly different. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and for me, I when I make a custom piece or a commission piece, I also feel that person. So I
Exactly.
put what I
Exactly.
feel from them into it. So I
Yes.
still keep that soul in
Yes.
it, like if it were
Yes.
my piece,
Yes. Yes.
but
It
it's
is
intended for them. So it does
correct.
definitely have a different
Right, right,
intention.
right. There's a different intent to it. There's a different energy, a different connectivity. So yeah, and then we are saying that, hey, this is the point and purpose. I am looking to put
Yeah.
into application, to put into reality, into physicality, what you want specifically.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to you. I'm hearing you. I'm listening past your words. I'm feeling it
Right.
more, and I'm going to do my best to give you what you want. But when I'm not in a specific connectivity and I don't have that precise request, and this is
Yep.
the key part, to do that, we need to be asked.
Yep.
Yes? When we do that as an assumption, ooh, this is now utterly problematic. And this is generally what happens when people like make posts or, do stuff, and they do it with the idea, oh, I'm going to be helping others. How the hell do you, and I could use a bit stronger, how the hell do you know what is good for others? That's very presumptive. It's very arrogant. You have no clue. So you're just assuming and presuming, and no, you can only do what's right according to you. when you don't know. Unless you've been specifically requested, different thing. Now, what they ask you to do might not be what is your idea of what is beautiful. Makes no difference. If you're
Oh
impeccable,
yeah.
you are going to implement what is beautiful or desirable or joyful to them. That would be,
Yep.
as a commission, because you're being commissioned now. Very different
Yep.
deal. Right. But when we aren't commissioned, we can only be impeccable to ourselves. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Then we can only share. Then we can't push it out. We can't presume. We can just share what's important, meaningful, beautiful, valuable to us. This is really only way it can be. Yeah.
Yep.
Ah, so magical, so magical. So cool, Rachel. If you want to put your screen on and share your drawing, that would be really fun. That would be really
Well, I
fun.
will say that my drawing program is actually pretty crap. So
Your what's pretty crap?
my drawing program.
Who cares? We enjoyed it. Did we not? Didn't it give us immense
It's
joy and
just
pleasure? I don't care how crappy your program was. The joy was very real. The joy was very uncrappy.
it's
It's awesome.
more along the lines. I've another artist, is just making you aware that my drawing program is pretty shit. Not only that.
Rachel, Murphy has taught, I don't know if you still do, but has taught art to children specifically. And she has fabulous
Awesome.
stories of all the children saying, yeah, but I can't draw, and how she gets them to, or paint, and how she shifts them past that point. And so, we don't care.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Your technical.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
I'm not a bad artist.
Yeah.
I'm learning, but I'm not.
Zoom out a little bit. We are too zoomed in. We are just seeing the shadow part that you're working on right now. We can't see it in a bigger context, unless you need to for what you're doing. But this is Miss Bean. This is Beena. Do you see why
Yeah.
Beena loves this picture?
Yeah.
The energy in it, the mood, and you know what for me, what I love is I feel Rachel's goodness.
Yep.
This is what I feel. Not just Rachel's goodness, but Rachel's purity and Rachel's innocence. It is so abundantly obvious in this. Yes, Lindsay?
I am
Yes,
so
it
not
I mean,
used to that.
I don't mean to presume that you're agreeing, but I
No,
feel
I
very
do. It's
strongly
beautiful.
that what I'm saying is so blinking obvious that I can say yes, but I check always,
Yeah.
I check.
I agree 100%.
And you see why Beena wants the picture.
Yep.
A picture gives me great joy. It gives me great joy, Rachel. I hope you know that. And I look at art in general, and I look at technical proficiency and its equivalence to what is regarded as art out in the world. And I say, the two are not related.
No.
Right? I mean, there's some art that people love and pay millions for, and to me, it's like, holy crap, this is just absolute rubbish. It just does. So
I always
it's
used to tell my students, the only thing that makes good art is the way you market it. Because some of the crappiest artwork you can see, it's not the art, it's how they marketed that piece of art.
Yes.
So in reality, like, it's how you market yourself as an artist that makes you to society a good artist, because ultimately there's amazing artists that don't know how to market themselves.
Yes, but if we now step outside of that, and we say, when we say more in a more overall abstract point of view, if we want to define art outside of perceptions and society and bullshit and people buying it because they're supposed to. All right, so when we get to pure, like capital A art, for me, art is the communication of energy.
Yep. And your soul comes out in your art. Your energy comes out in your art.
Exactly.
Yes, very much
This
so.
is what makes art precious, is that we get to connect to another's realness. Yes? Is that a good
100%.
definition of art? And look at the art of Rachel here. We get to connect not only to Rachel's realness, but to Beenas as well. And
Yes.
whenever we get to connect to the truth of another, to get to their essence, their realness, their soul, their real deep energy of being, this is a precious gift because we get to see people unfiltered. And when we get to see realness, it is something that we can use to build our awareness and our understanding of the human condition, and through that, to get ourselves. So I have another really potent definition of art. Art is all about ways of being.
Right.
When you look at any art, music, film, drawing, painting, picture, sound, anything, and you start to look really carefully, what draws us, what connects us, is that here, in some way, is a potential way of being that we can say, oh, this extends me. Ooh, this really connects, this really resonates. And this is the key, that when we find that connectivity at the bottom, it is a mechanism by which we can extend our current and particular way of being. Or we can get to see alternatives to say, that's a really interesting way of being, but no, not for me. But this, by knowing what I don't want, I get to expand what I do like and what I do know and my awareness of myself. Right? So when we connect art to ways of being, it all suddenly starts to make sense.
Right.
It's astonishing how that is. Right, because look, when we look at Rachel's picture here now, we see the ways of being of innocence, of purity, of a joyfulness, but an openness, right? There was also that eagerness to learn and that to be an innocent. Both Rachel and Beena are profound innocents with a T on the end, not a C. Yeah, they are innocents in the world, and a deep innocence they have. And this is a magical way of being, but also it's a way of being that we need to be aware of, because there are many innocents who don't know that they are innocents, and they suffer as a result because they don't live strategically and they don't know how to deal with that. So we need to know this and be aware of this. So just you see the magic, the connectivity, just so huge, so huge. But when we connect it to ways of being, it's profound, profound, really, really profound. I don't know how that connects with you, but that's the way I see it, Lindsay. I don't know how that connects with you.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's just different wording, exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah. You know, that's my skill, is to articulate things. So you know, it's not a right or wrong. It's elucidation rather than articulation. It's just shedding light. And when we I love perspective shifting. So when you shed light, elucidation is to shed light from all the angles.
Right.
Yeah, so you can see the fullness of something, because as an artist, you shed light from one angle only, you're only going to see a particular thing. But when we have light in the entirety, 360 light, in other words, now we see the fullness of what's going on. Very powerful. So elucidation is very, very, very powerful, So this is what I make an effort to do and practice. And you got to know your skills, so. That's always what I thought of myself as, yes, I'm okay, philosopher, maybe, yes, this, that. I know I'm an elucidator. That's what I am. And so are artists, really. They just elucidate in different ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always say, like, it's an illusion. Art is an illusion.
Yes.
Because you're magic. Like, really, you're fooling people's eye to see what you see, or to see what ultimately is sitting in front of you, or you're putting on paper to make that illusion.
Yes. It's the communication of energy and intent and emotion. I see so many artists, they seek to acquire technical proficiency, and some even take it to the absurdness of where they can paint or draw and it looks like a photograph. And I say,
I can do that. I'm one of those.
Right, but
to me it comes naturally, so it's interesting.
But what I wanted to connect is that they pursued this goal of painting so realistically that they think this is an increase of their skill level. But then they've achieved what you can do with the photograph, and it's like, to what end? You see what I mean? Yes, it is a technical skill proficiency, but you haven't actually increased your artistry, because in you've just taken a photograph. Now you can take a photograph to communicate energy and mood, and then you get the art of photography. But if you're just simply capturing it just there without that mood, that energy, that moreness, it's just kind of pointless, right?
Right.
Well, the people that I follow on YouTube, who are like really good artists, they all say the same thing. Are like, you don't. When it comes to like art style, when someone says, "Oh, this is my art style," what they actually mean is, "This is what I limit myself to do, being able to do." So art style is an illusion. It's not something that is real. You can learn any art style on the planet, and when you make up your own art style, what you're really doing is mishmashing two existing art styles, which comes from someone else. So an art style is just a copy, a carbon copy. Even if you make up your own art style, you're still taking someone else's style and mixing it with another person's. So it's being able to have a massive array of different styles and techniques, and it's like when you've been able to do photorealism, which is something that's far beyond my skill level, it's being able to take those techniques and then do what art is fundamentally, and that's an interpretation. You draw what you feel, you don't draw what you see.
Exactly.
It's not just an emotional level, it's interpretation.
Right. So we have to ask the question from a, way of impeccability starts with clarity of intent. So we have to say, to what end? Like the photorealism. Yes, you can acquire that technical proficiency, but to what end? Right. So when we look at art from the point of view of to what end, we say it is to the ability to communicate, and to communicate what?
That's it. It's the ability to take photorealism and to communicate what you feel and how you interpret something. Like if I were to take a picture of someone's face.
I'll show you an example of I like doing photorealism, but here's a way I've taken it to make my own painting out of it and make it me, because this one's not done yet, but I love drawing the anatomical heart.
Rachel, would you unscreen share for a second, and then Lindsay, would you click on your screen share? Little green button.
Little green button.
Oh, then there's a confirmation screen after that. And just click OK.
Oh, this isn't on my screen though. This is like just in my studio.
It doesn't matter. It's gonna put your picture. Oh, I see. It's not on your screen. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to point the camera. Yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
So this is one that I started. It's not quite done, but and it's acrylic.
Wow.
And then it's going to be, all of them are going to be hearts from the center out. And then
that's a very
other interesting.
Also, just really what strikes me there is that the eye is a very non-eye in the usual sense.
Yep.
Yeah. It seems to be 90-degree eye.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So the other thing about that painting is it'll change when you put 3D glasses on. The perspective of it will change.
Yeah. Isn't that something, Rachel? That I just like this idea. But what I was trying to say is that, many artists pursue technical proficiency thinking this is art, and they equate their technical proficiency with their ability to be an artist. To me, it's two separate things.
It's totally two separate things. I agree.
To me, what defines a good artist is one who can communicate. Who can communicate their energy, can communicate emotion, can communicate moreness, can touch you to the ineffable. But it's the communication that defines you. The ability to communicate is what makes you an artist. So I'm an artist in my own way. My artist may be language or words or conceptions or abstract, whatever, a different art. People can communicate with music, with dance. There's many ways to communicate, but this is to me what makes art: the ability to communicate. Technical proficiency, it's yes, it helps, but it's not all of it. It is the feeling that you come. I've seen incredible poems that when you read them, if you were a grammar nerd, you would freak out and your head would explode. There's not one bit of proper spelling. Every single punctuation error you could possibly imagine is there, and somebody is absolutely bastardizing the language in terms of technicality. But the emotion that comes through, you feel it. You feel that potency. You feel that realness. You feel that really. So, in other words, the expression, the medium, not important. The energy that was behind. You could feel that when the person wrote this, they were feeling intensely, and this is why, to me, when Van Gogh, I don't know, people say Van Gogh, but back there they say Van Gogh. Anyway, why he's so important? Because this was a guy who felt really intensely, and it's that feeling intensely that comes through. Even when he painted, like just I saw a painting the other day of him painting, I don't know, it was peach blossoms or something. Very boring subject, but you feel that he was feeling something really intense when he painted it. It's the feeling, that energy. That's what makes it, not the technical proficiency. Yes. Oh, where'd you guys go?
Oh, I'm just concentrating.
No problem. No problem. No
Sorry.
problem.
Yeah, I feel like that too. You can get that with a lot of different things new, not just with what the subject is. You can get it with color. Exactly. You can get it with the color, or even it doesn't even have to be color. Even a way you can perceive a picture. If you look at the top of her head, she has like these sparkly. It looks like sparks. You can see the energy coming from that. So even that movement alone, by adding something simple to a drawing that shows movement and that energy, it doesn't necessarily have to do with the picture itself. It has to do with something you added to the picture to create that.
Yeah. I love, Rachel says it regularly. She says, paint or draw what you feel.
Yes.
That's the key. That's the key. I had a really, really powerful little, just simple thing that happened, but it always stayed with me, and it really changed things for me in a big way when I was at school. I would have been 13, 14, somewhere around there. So the class project was kind of a school thing, in those classes where you don't do anything really, and they always make up stuff for you to do. Okay, we're gonna write poems today, and we're gonna take 3 of the nicest poems, and we're gonna publish them in the school newspaper, which is a new thing starting up. Okay, so anyway, the teacher says they put the topics on the board. These are the subjects, and one of them was sunsets, and I'm like, fuck. Come on, seriously. Couldn't you pick a more boring bloody topic? I mean, seriously, sunsets now. Come on. So I was a bit miffed, and I was somewhat incensed and irritated that they had chosen this ridiculous topic of sunsets. Now, for me at least, anyway. So in my youthful knuckleheadedness, so I write essentially a protest poem. Sunsets to me are ordinary things, right? I'm irritated. I'm really profoundly irritated and annoyed, and I don't want to write any poem at all. I'm not interested at all. So I write essentially a 3-line poem, and I say the first line. I don't remember the rest. Sunsets to me are ordinary things. That's the first line, and then I write, I think, 1 or 2 lines, and that was it. And I did the absolute barest minimum that I could do in terms of writing a poem, right? So to my mind, it's a non-poem. I'm doing them just so that I don't get into trouble, because you have to do this stuff, So, okay, I submit my poem. Lo and behold, they actually published my poem. Came in second. I couldn't even care 2 hoots about this competition thing. Came in second, right? And here's the thing now. The school that I was in is very conservative. And I don't know, we wore school uniforms, all the stuff. When you walk in the lines between classes, you walk in lines, and you can't talk in the hallways between moving. You can get in trouble at physical caning. So, getting in trouble as a boy was a serious thing. And there also wasn't much communication between different classes. If you, I think it was in standard 6 or standard 7, which would be 8th or 9th grade. Like 8th graders didn't talk to 9th graders and so on. Anyway, but people that, everybody is a small town, and everybody knew who I was, and everybody pretty much knows everybody. But kids that I'd never spoken to or connected to in the passage would, kind of, as you walk by, will quickly reach out. Oh, I liked your poem. Like, what the fuck? I didn't even know that you ever read poetry, or that you even had a conception that there was such a thing as poetry. I mean, seriously, it was just like reading. I was reading books, but I was the only one that I knew that actually read books. Wow, you really like my poems? Like, wow.
And the fact that they reached out to say this to me, it really, really was totally anomalous and outside of the norms of anything. And this just happened once or twice, maybe probably a dozen times or so. And this was really, really something significant. And then I realized, but I wrote this crappy poem. It was a ridiculous non-poem, but it was my energy that they felt. They felt that, and I knew when I was writing it, I knew that this energy was going in there. Because now, since we're on the topic of will and intent, I was kind of almost willing my irritation and my annoyance, my protest into my poem. I knew I was specifically imbibing that energy into my poem. So I knew they weren't responding to it as in the normal poetry that has, a rhythm and meter and cadence and rhyming and all this stuff, the normal construct. No, it had nothing to do with that. They were feeling it. So then I realized that energy could communicate and transmit regardless of the medium.
Right.
We tend to think we can communicate our energy only directly when we're in contact with a person. No.
Not at all.
It goes through any medium. It is universal. It is infinite. It doesn't matter. And you see it on the internet. Somebody says, yeah, but they say, yeah, with a lot of energy and intent. And you're like, whoa, you feel it, it's just a yeah. So this really, and it changed my entire perception, and just for my own impeccability, it was something I couldn't ignore. So essentially, this is a kind of, since we are attaching to impeccability, because it was something I couldn't ignore, and it was really profound and changing, I had to restructure my entire world to accommodate this point. Right? It changed my entire worldview, my entire way of being, my entire living, everything. So I had to change the whole world to incorporate this new truth. Because, in my impeccability, I couldn't just ignore it, and it didn't fit into my pre-existing perception of the world and understanding of how the world works. So I had to change the entire conception to accommodate this point. Now, sometimes in art, I would assume you do that. You've got a painting, right? And you paint a little spot. And you paint just a little sub part of it. Like, let's say just the iris of your eye in that painting. And the iris comes out differently, and it comes out perfectly, and it comes out awesomely. And you say, fuck. Whoa, 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 whoa. That iris now no longer belongs in this painting. So now you have to repaint the rest of the painting to accommodate the iris. Yeah?
Yep.
That happens. Now that's the same philosophically when it comes to understanding. This is impeccability, that it so often requires us to repaint the rest of the painting to accommodate this new truth. It's very important. Very important. Very important. That's impeccability. You can't leave it, right? You can't just say, sort of, because it's discordant. It doesn't fit and it doesn't belong. And the rest of the painting now becomes nonsense because of this one little perfect spot, right? Or this new truth. Okay.
There's this thing as well, when I was watching some of these artists, when they're always like, you need to plan your art, you need to plan what you're going to do. And then I went and found this other guy who was like, this is a meditation for artists where you don't think about or pre-plan your drawing. You just draw it straight off the bat like this. And you can see him there. He's even having a full-on immersive conversation with someone while he's doing it. But it's just like, if you do meditation, like the focus point.
Yeah.
It was all the same meditation techniques. You're just letting your hands and your brain do whatever it wants to do, and your imagination is completely disconnected from it. And then when you start, pardon?
I was just saying, like, I totally feel that when I paint exactly what you're saying, because some people will be like, how long did it take you to do that? I'm like, an hour, and it looks like I spent days. But it's like, when I start, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just doing. Like, it's just flowing through me. There's no like questioning it. It's just happening.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So I totally feel you.
You are feeling it. You are feeling it, and that's the key.
Yeah.
If we don't feel it, it's not real.
Yeah.
That's why I like my art so much.
What's that?
Like the.
It's why.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's all right. You can go first.
I was just thinking about, like, because I went through art school but I like ultimately taught myself to paint, and then I went to art school because I got for a painting I got accepted to art school. So,
wow.
But for me, it's about how, like, it's not about being a good or a bad artist. It's about getting your idea down, because
Yeah.
you'll become a good artist from practicing. And if you're a good artist to yourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Because in, like, I used to tell my students, like, they'd be like, all I can do is draw a stick figure. I was like, well, what did your name look like in kindergarten? And like, look over time how your name has progressed through your journey of time or through your grades over practice. Because everybody, but if you drew 100 names on the board, you could pick your own name out if I scrambled them up within about 10 or 15 seconds, because you know what your name has become over time, which is your picture of yourself that you draw every day. Now just put an actual picture to it if you keep practicing that picture over days. And that's kind of what the eye became too. The 75 eyes was like me building on that aspect of growing as an artist with no expectations of myself, and keeping it simple first and then adding to it over time. And that's why they became more colorful over time too.
I love it. I love it. Why 75 days, by the way?
That's just how many cards were in the decks that I got. There was no set number. I think it was like 74 or 75. It was just however many cards were in that deck. I just stuck to it to finish the deck.
I love that. I love that. Sometimes there's a very simple mundanity to things. And in this case,
yeah. And some of it too, I think about like a habit is normally created in 60 days.
Or 90.
So like, yeah, or 90 days. So that 75 days was like, I could have done it for longer, honestly, but that was like a good point. That wasn't, I felt too much or too little.
Right. Well, so, I have the feeling that this project is going to maybe reincarnate or remorph or come about, in a reincarnate. It would probably be the best way as an ongoing thing. So I love it. On that, I am keen to make specific arrangements.
Yes.
To get together, and I tell you why, Lindsay. It's again energy management. If something is pending, I have to have it in my pending file. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to it, right? And it uses energy because it's a constant thing. But if I can say, okay, we're definitely going to get together when today, tomorrow, whenever, next week, next month, doesn't matter. Now it's resolved, and I can be at peace.
Okay, so what about tomorrow?
That's perfect. What time?
Let's see. I drop my kid off at 8.
It doesn't have to be a specific time. You can say, okay, tomorrow, and just I'm up from 6 o'clock, and we can just say, okay, whenever, when my things come in my energy, that's fine. It doesn't have to be precise. It's just that we have resolved to do specific, and there's some commitment to doing, and that's the key for me. Yeah.
That works.
All right. So, you tomorrow, you just say when you come and when things are ready, when your energy is good, and then we'll connect. Because I'll be free most of the day tomorrow, so no problem.
That works.
Yeah. In the morning we come on, I chat. We have the Zoom sessions in the morning, but after that, like now, from this time onward and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah. Brilliant. I love that. I'm excited about this. It's very exciting.
I am too. And on that note, I'm going to hop off because I got a few things that I got to get done this morning.
Brilliant. Very magical.
It was beautiful talking to you, Rachel. Your art is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. This is the magic. This is the magic of this group.
Okay.
Yeah. Brilliant.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye, Lindsay. Yeah. Talk to you soon. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Very cool.
And then there were 2.
There you go.
When you were all talking before on Zoom, like when we had like a huge group, I had like 2 songs that came to mind when you were all talking. I posted one in the Facebook group. So.
And they were?
I posted. They were just freelance song, but one of them, I posted one of the lyrics in the Facebook group.
Wow, brilliant. Okay, I need to refresh my Facebook page here. Oh. Something isn't going to be saving. What?
I can just read them out if you want, if that's easier.
No. It doesn't want to let me move because it's saying, something. It's like when you make a comment and it's, you haven't hit enter yet. Okay, well, that seems to be, I don't know what they're talking about, but too bad. My comment is lost. It's really lost.
Speaking of art, anyway, I've gotten into Warhammer.
Wow, I like the art of Warhammer. Very different style, but very powerful.
It's the just buying the miniatures and painting them side.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Watched this guy on Facebook, this guy on YouTube who reads out the lore of Warhammer and is just like, yeah. So I went and bought some miniatures yesterday, and they're supposed to be arriving today.
Brilliant, 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 brilliant.
Ooh.
I have a friend. He used to work for me in California. He's Hari Krishna. Yeah, very cool guy though. Kaloka, his name's Kaloka, and he does paints miniatures. And he does them of all, the different deities and things. And but anyway, that's his thing that he does, and I think he does it as an occupation actually, or at least he makes money from it. Yeah, he gets commissioned because he's painting stuff relative to the religion, So the different saints or gurus or spirit, whatever they call them, and then people come and they have theirs, and they because he's individualizing and it's customized, and it significantly enhances the miniatures when you paint them. So then they bring these to him to paint. So I'm just mentioning it, that there's something that a little different way on it,
Yeah, it's the whole creative side of it that I wanted to start getting into. Also, it helped me work and get used to painting with colors, because I was watching this artist who basically showed an art piece he did, which was an older lady, not an elderly lady, but an older lady who was sitting on a couch, and the only color that was used was the color red, but it was really vibrant and looked like it had multicolours in it.
Rachel, and unless you want me to pee in my pants here right here in Starbucks, can you just put that on pause for a moment for me, please?
They say you can just pee yourself.
What's that?
You know what they say, you just wear an adult nappy and you can just pee yourself.
Yeah, well, I don't have that available, so I gotta go. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay.
I'll be back in a moment. Okay. See you soon. 1 second.
Okay. Bailey!
Alrighty then. Much better. Much better. Much better. Tell you, it's quite interesting, Rachel. Since I'm in a public space now, I'm just I need to speak softer. And when I have the headsets on, I'm also sitting underneath the speaker. To me, I can barely hear myself, but of course you can hear me clearly because of the microphone. Picks me up very clearly. But I feel like I'm barely hearing myself. But this is the appropriate volume. Otherwise, everybody in the whole blooming place will hear me. So so I have to change the way in which I talk. It's quite an interesting exercise, I gotta say.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, I know you can hear me. I'm just saying from my own perception, I feel like I'm barely audible, and it's just that it's a peculiar thing. That's why I'm just making a comment on the peculiarity of it.
Actually, it makes you come across as more casual.
Ah, interesting. Yeah,
More
it would do.
relaxed.
Yeah. I'm very intense, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with that because you could be like really loud and
Yeah,
energetic.
Exactly. High energy. Yeah. But to me, that high energy, it is actually a function of my politeness and consideration. Because I feel if you're speaking to somebody and you're like, right, so I'm in Starbucks and lots of people here. Yeah, it's just boring, man. Come on.
Yeah, you sound boring.
Exactly.
You sound bored.
So to me, the intensity and the energy, it's a politeness where I'm saying, I'm sharing an excitement and enthusiasm, because that's the difference. You can say the exact same thing, say it with energy and with interest and enthusiasm, and it makes it interesting. So it's just a consideration to me to do that. So the high energy is just consideration, and I'm saying stuff that's pertinent and particular, and I care about it. I care about how you feel. So it just that's why I have the high energy. It's a function of my deep politeness and consideration.
Who's that, Keely? Who's that? There's
All
somebody
right.
new. Sorry,
Say-
dog's just walked in.
Ah, right. Oh, I was wondering. Um, um, uh, yeah, it's just exciting, when we get to be ourselves and we realize, that whole what if conversation the other day, the what if Zoom that we had, it led to the thing where we can say, what if I actually implement possibilities and ways of being and ways of doing that only seem to be theoretical. Like for me, it's just a simple thing. I do lots of what ifs. I apply them. But just one simple what if. What if we do not engage in small talk and just skip right over it? Now, to me, it doesn't mean that I'm not talking and not interacting. But when I am chatting, I just say, what if when I interact with people, I just skip right past the small talk and I go right into the more
and I do that, and it's really amazing, that you can do it. So when we actually say that what ifs can be implemented, and we make the specific intent to do so, and we implement them and we apply it, it's quite magical. It's quite magical because most of the time we live according to not doing those what ifs, and what we do and how we act and how we behave go according to society and convention, and should screw should live by what if, and implement and apply that what if and make it an actuality, a realness. It's very exciting, very, very exciting. No, different way. I'm coming to your post. This laptop is not the same as my big one, my main computer, the desktop. So it's a lot slower.
Yeah, I work on laptops all the time. It's just they are slower than bigger computers.
Yeah. Well, and also I'm on Wi-Fi. It's supposed to, a direct connection. So,
like I said, I can always read it out if you're struggling.
Yeah, no, I prefer to read it. I'm just saying, so just so you know, it's slow. So, okay. I just wanted to take care of a comment before that too. I want to get Stephanie to come join us on Zoom. I have a feeling you're gonna really like Stephanie. So yeah, she's kind of a like you, anomalies. We're all anomalies, but anyway.
I don't get on with people like me.
No. She's not like you as a person, but in the sense that, like me, I'm an anomaly too. And
okay.
Yeah, all of us. Beena's an anomaly. Sure, Donna, everybody, we're all anomalies.
Well, I like Beena. So
yeah.
She's like Beena then. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not about who I personally get on with.
Yes.
Because if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not really that much in share.
Yeah. It just takes time, and we have different connectivities, so it is what it is.
It's just there's some things that she's been doing that have started to remind me of some other people and how it played out with them. Yeah. Not necessarily saying that she's like those people. I'm just
it's
saying
associations.
Yeah. That's all it is. The problem's with me, and I know that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the exciting part, that you're aware of it. So now we can get to that where we deliberately start to reassociate things, and this is a very exciting part of just managing ourselves, deliberate association management.
Yeah, it's also that because I'm not disillusioned in any way, and I know that the problem is 100% me. And I know that it's got nothing necessarily to do with that. Besides, we don't always like everyone around us anyway, do we? I guarantee there are people in the group that don't like me.
Right. And you're being real. You're being real about yourself. You're being real about your perceptions, and you're being real to say that, hey, I'm not locked into this. I can change it. I can grow. I can update. I can be more. So very exciting. Wow, Starbucks actually full.
Starbucks down by me is never full. It's always Costa.
Right. People come and go. There's typically always, a couple of tables, but that's what I'm saying. It's unusual to see it where it's actually full, which is very cool. I mean, technically there are still seats available, I guess, but still. Yeah, it's very nice. Very fun.
Does Lindsay live in Cornwall in England?
No. It's right next to Sedona. Yeah. It's just a little town. Yeah.
There's a place here called Cornwall.
Correct.
So
I'm familiar. No. I'm familiar with the Cornwall in England, but no, very different Cornwall. Yeah.
Because if you're traveling to Cornwall to see her,
no. Very different. Yeah. Cornwall is a bit in the desert over here, so it's just sort of just on the, a little outside, a little small community, sort of smallish town. I guess it's its own little town, but really it's between.
So much when other countries have the same name things, because you're like, oh, you live there.
Yeah, okay. and particularly English names. I mean, the first town that I grew up in is called Carnarvon, after Lord Carnarvon, but of course there's Carnarvon in England as well. So.
And speaking of England, I'm actually getting an Irish passport, dual nationality.
Wow, good for you. That's brilliant. That's
because my
brilliant.
grandfather actually was directly from Ireland, so it's not that many generations back. My
Wow.
mum's like half Irish and I'm like quarter Irish. And apparently my mum, she's already got dual nationality. She didn't know about it.
Wow.
So she's gone off and got her dual nationality and her
Wow.
passport's on its way. And she was told by the Irish embassy that all she needs to do is just wait for her passport to arrive. Then we'll automatically get it, and then we can put in for ours.
Good. I truly, with all the depth of my being, truly wish and hope that you do get to use that passport.
Oh, I fully plan to because we're planning on leaving England anyway.
Interesting. Rachel, if I know money is not something that's particularly flush, but one thing that's very simple and relatively inexpensive to acquire is a Eurail pass, right? And with the Eurail pass, it allows you for a particular period of time to travel for free on the Eurail anywhere in Europe, right? So this is for now. In other words, you've got accommodation and travel taken care of, because okay, it's not the most convenient thing, but you can sleep on the Eurail, right? So it cuts down your necessity for accommodation quite considerably, right? But this allows you to travel everywhere. And you're tired, you just hop on the Eurail and there you go. Very simple. You don't care where it goes. You go anywhere, right? You get to see Europe in a really simple way, very cheaply. And of course, you meet people, and it's just ideal. And it's safe.
I don't know how that's going to be affected by Brexit.
But it makes no difference where you're from. And from what I understood, the Europass actually maybe it wasn't available to people in Europe. It's only maybe available to outside of Europe. So depending on the Irish passport, you could get it in Ireland and not in England. So because
Ireland's still in Europe.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Where I'm currently living now,
yeah.
I can actually get on a boat and within 5 hours be actually land in Ireland.
Right. Anyway, so I'm just saying that at the time it was only available to people outside of Europe because we were in South Africa at the time. So I don't know. You have to figure out how that works, but just an idea. I'm just saying, there probably will be some similar equivalent. You get a pass, but it's a very nice, simple way to travel Europe, and it is a profound way to do so because you get to see things and you can stop off anywhere. And stations are always hubs of activity. They're always central, pretty much, and you get to connect to everything. So it's quite ideal. It's really, really ideal. And you get to meet people. They chat to you on the train and all of this stuff. So it's really ideal. Very, very exciting. Very cool. All right, so let's read the lyrics here. I'm going to read. Not far away lies a storm to the north. Whispers of winter as death marches forth. Honor means nothing when war is unfair. We've come here to battle and return to nowhere. Kings die like peasants with no one to mourn. There's blood in these hills from the battles forlorn. Wolves in the shadows drag pieces away. I've nothing to lose with no debts left to pay. Faces erased like a dream. The gods have not listened, though prayers turn to cold-blooded screams. Places where we have no name. A man of no house is a man without masters to shame. Strangers were bound by despair. A clamor for glory, a throne deprived of rightful heir. Dangers from ever cold sky. A land of no mercy, a place for the lowborn to die. Vengeance igniting the fire in my blood. Paths of destruction by sword and by flood. Sword and by flood. Fed to the vultures were friends and good men. Pursuit of dominion, the game never ends. Queens kill for power, and lords fight for gold. A race dressed in armor still lies in the cold, followed by brethren with loyalty mine, hunted by thieves of a purer bloodline. Faces erased like a dream, the gods have not listened, though prayers turn to cold-blooded screams, places where we have no name. A man of no house is a man without master to shame. Oh, this is long. All right, I'm just going to read it silently then. Oh, it's not that long. Okay.
It's just that it repeats the song.
Right. Oh, I see. Okay. I'll just skip
Just
here
skip
to
to
the
the
end.
end.
Yeah, faces erased like a dream. Because that's it. Not
That's
far
Dr. Beena.
away lies a storm to the north. Whispers of winter as death marches forth. Honor means nothing when war is unfair. We've come here to battle and return to nowhere. Yes, that's very powerful. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah,
It's
there's a lot of pointlessness in the world.
yeah, it's the more along the lines of when Cher mentioned survival. It's like, doesn't that just describe the existence of survival?
Yes, yes. So
That's
I'm
great.
exactly, exactly.
Because
Survival without evolution can not only be pointless, but utterly undesirable.
if you think about it realistically,
Yes.
the world thinks it's past the whole point of like legacy and giving birth and children and blah blah blah. You know, the whole
Right,
hierarchy of how that works.
right.
When we're actually still in that mindset. So a
Oh yeah,
man with a house has no masters to shame,
yeah,
because
yeah.
the man without legacy is a man who doesn't live in that hierarchy. So
Yes.
therefore he has no masters to shame him, no one to tell him that what you need to do and how to live and how to behave.
And conversely, he has no one to affect himself, because it's masters to shame, not to shame him, but him to shame them.
A man with no house has no masters to shame.
Yeah, it can go the other way. It can take it both ways.
Yeah, it can.
Them
Yeah, it
them
can.
them shaming him or him shaming them. So
It works both ways.
exactly,
And
it's a very
the way that
profound line.
society, exactly the way that society makes you, like, indoctrinates you into believing, you do shame people as much as you get shamed by people. You do drag people down when you feel dragged down. It's how we're taught to make ourselves feel better.
Yeah,
So again, no house, no society, then you live outside of those rules and you're a law unto yourself.
yeah,
And survival for me is just existence. And existence and living are two different things. You can exist without living and you can live without existence. Because the existence is just existing, going day by day, trying to get through to the next day by any means necessary. That's existence. Living is disconnecting from that and being able to enjoy your life, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. The whole point, to have survival without evolution, totally a waste of time. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's actually a song that I know called by a band called Fire from the Gods. We have a song called Evolution, and it talks about the same thing.
Ah, very cool, very cool, very cool.
And the other one that I had, is that it? No, it's not. Where are you? This one's called Fading Light. Um, and I'll just read you a few of
Sure,
them, unless you'd rather me post them.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Either way, whatever you want to do. Yeah, I'm easy.
Life's breath in the candlelight, lost hearts in the dead of night. It's a long way down to the place that they found. Dark sun hollowed by the fate. Our debts left to be paid. Seen the blackness stare, promising to spare the chosen. Born of graves and left below, painted ashes and painted snows. When darkness awakens, fires from of our last hope are getting low. Souls of gods and souls of men meeting cinders to ascend. Fate has chosen, and our fading light is at its end. I've a tale that time has lost, sins of judgment born in frost. Then he took a name for the one profaned. Know the dark, but let it rest. Left to lurkers in their quest. Let the watchers fight and the blood ignite the chosen. Souls to revive us or rot us away. Want from the weary and death for the same. Cursed yet we listen for the bells left to toll. Fight back the depths of humanity's soul. For the unkindled we look to the sun. Cities in gold, all the victories won. Fear not the dark or the monsters, my friend, and embrace for the feast of one humanity's end. And then it just repeats the born of graves twice and ends with just fading light.
Wow, I don't connect to that one. So how did it connect to you? I don't listen to song lyrics in general, so I don't have that same kind of connectivity
Well, for
feeling.
me, when you're going on about like the entertainment, because you let's say like the first paragraph, life's breath in the candlelight, lost hearts in the dead of night. That's just basically how we're taught, basically again, to live. Where like fate is not predetermined, and that we're told from an age that we shape our own fate. When the reality of it is, we're all destined to a certain fate. But fate itself is not that black and white. So again, society basically just lies to you. And again, it's born of graves and left below, because, you know, we're born and we go back to the grave. But we're told to ignore that journey and just to live our lives without the looming threats. Like, it ties back into the saying from this thing where it's basically talking about life and death. And I think I've said this before, when life says to death, "Why does everyone love me but everyone hate you?" And death smiles and replies, "Because you're the beautiful lie and I'm the ugly truth." That is the ugly truth. If you live your life preparing for death, then you're not living your life. But then if you live your life just living your life, then you don't prepare for death, if that makes any sense.
Yes. In other words, if I take everything you're saying and just kind of what I do to condense it all into one particular conception, all of what you're saying now can be wrapped and boiled down to into the conception of deliberate living.
Yeah, because you have to be aware of the fact that you have a looming death, and as Death said himself in that little story, the ugly truth is, everyone likes to think that I'm years away, when every day I take one step closer.
Yeah,
And that's the ugly truth.
yeah,
When we don't get younger, we get older.
yeah, yeah,
And with age,
yeah,
doesn't necessarily come maturity, but it comes with your inevitable demise.
yeah.
So therefore, you focus so hard on your life, you start to destroy your own relationships. You start to destroy who you are essentially as a person, because
Yes.
you just want to live your life, because you don't want to have any regrets when you die. And ultimately what that does is that actually leaves you with regrets when death is knocking on your door.
Exactly. And that's that when you connect this back to our discussion of impeccability and the best use of energy. When we use death as an advisor and we leverage death and we're saying, what am I doing about my death? When I get to death's door, if I go to death and knock on it and ask him for advice, say, hey, death, what the fuck am I doing? Death says, yes, what the fuck are you doing? You're wasting your time with all this petty shit that you're concerned about and you're not paying attention to me. So fuck off. When you paid attention to me, then you come back and then we can talk. But in the meantime, you're being a jackass and it'll just laugh in your face, right? So death is a very rude too, and they're very direct. And he really cuts to all the bullshit, right? He doesn't have time for your crappy nonsense. Death says, be impeccable. So
that's
in the
just like
context, right, in the context of impeccability, we take our energy and we apply it to that which is going to be beneficial to us, and regardless of what happens when it comes to death. We are saying, what do I need to deal with death? Well, the first thing I need is awareness. Secondly, I don't know what's coming after death. So I want to develop those qualities and abilities which enable me to be appropriate and ready and have abilities which I can deal with in any circumstance. For instance, patience or awareness or discernment or any insight. All of these things, doesn't matter which reality, which situation, which circumstance, they are valuable. So that says yes. Now you are utilizing your energy to best effect. Why? Because you don't know if there's something after me or not. However, paying attention to the qualities of impeccability and character, things like sobriety and patience and all this stuff, they are beneficial to you here and now. And if there is me, if I'm the end and there's no more, well, then you've had a good life now and you've made the best use of your time and energy, and you've developed these qualities that utilize and give you power and joy in the now. Plus, you hedging your bets. Should there be an afterlife or a different life or alternative reality, or you start again, you
Doesn't
have
matter.
now acquired abilities that help you anyway. Exactly. You covered your ass both ways. That's good use of your energy. That's how to deal with me.
I actually have a little thing. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize
it's okay. I just wanted to say that this is from our point of view of impeccability. We get value whether things are real or true or not. So in the case of death, doesn't matter if there's an afterlife or not. We are setting our lives strategically to get value, both in the here and now, and should there be something or not. Either way, we get value. Very powerful.
Yeah,
Very, very powerful.
exactly. So yeah, I just gonna go close the door. The bottom movement. I actually was listening to a song, and before I told you that when I listen to music, I tell myself little stories based on the music.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that.
Well, I've taken that a little step further because now I do meditation.
Wow. Exciting. Exciting.
And it's really, really cool because when you have a meditation and you do like a visual meditation and it takes you so far, it's like you have to like prompt it. And then when you're in this visual meditation for long enough, it's like the reins get taken off you. So you've connected to some kind of higher power, or maybe it's just like a deep subconscious part of your brain that you have no control over.
Either way, we don't care. We get value.
Exactly. I mean, this is going to be like a really profound thing for me anyway, that happened. But when I did it, I was listening to a song called The Fiddler on the Green. And I like creating characters, and I created this one specific character which I used in this meditation, which was basically this character was a female character, and she was death. And I've drawn her a death, a Grim Reaper form before, and it's just like, when I see it, I'm like, ugh. But she is basically death, and she has the powers of obviously death. But she has two forms. One is her death form, and the other one's her life form. Because in this story, death and life are the same thing. 1 minute.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's the card for dentist appointment?
It's for Wednesday the 15th, 12 o'clock at noon.
Hello.
It's not today. Don't worry about it. It's Wednesday. Can you make me a brew while you're there, Mum? Here's my cup.
Say again?
I was just thinking to a Mum. Thank you very much. So yeah, that's what they were in this story, right?
Yeah.
And it was like I started it off, and when I started it off, I did this thing like doing some kind of time travel where she was taken from her own time, the time that she was born in, which is modern day, and she was thrusted back into the Dark Ages. And when she fell from the sky, because for me, whenever a character goes back in time, they fall from the sky. And because of the sheer immensity and the sheer pain that she gets put through physically, falling from the sky, falling from orbit, it forced her wings out. And I have a specific colour pattern for all my characters. One wing will always be black and the other wing will always be white.
Oh, wow.
The left wing is always white and the black wing is always black. And that ties back to divinity and left hand of God and right hand of God and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, wow.
And the same thing with her eye. Her right eye will always be blue and her left eye will always be purple, like a deep emerald purple. And when she was unconscious on the floor, I imagined that these people sent by the local king at the time to basically come and find out what fell from the sky. And, because they assume if it falls from the sky, it's basically God. And it's usually a meteor, so it's metal of God, sending it down to a specific king, blah, blah, blah. But they see this woman who's now had all of her clothes burnt away, so she's naked and she's unconscious and she has two angel wings. So naturally, what they would assume is that she is an angel. when she's not. And she buys into that delusion and she feeds them that delusion. She's like, yeah, it is. And when the song progressed onwards, it was like the whole thing just twisted and warped. And instead of my character being there, I was talking to a hooded figure. You know, and he was holding a scythe and he was the classical Grim Reaper. And when part of the song lyrics were playing, it's like this Grim Reaper was talking to me, right? And that specific part of the song was, where are you?
Was what?
I've got the song lyrics right in front of me, just looking for it.
I see.
Yeah, here you go. I took him too early. Would you mind? Would you mind? Would you mind if I take you to be with you 3 more times? And then it like faded around, and it was just like the sun seemed bright, the air was clear. The air was clear. A trick of light turned red into green. She saw the light, and by that point, it was like what I was visualizing was Grim Reaper was sad because he was alone, and he's always alone. He just does his job, and he was particularly distressed because there was this young girl that was standing by the side of him, but she was like really shy. She didn't really, she was physically hiding behind him. And it was just like this really, really strange conversation. And at some point, everything just goes black. And then when I wake up again, and I see, and by this point, it is like in first person, so it essentially is me. I look around and I'm in like this green field. And I know in the song that it goes on about being in a green field because the song's called The Fiddler on the Green. And it was just like, the song clearly was influencing it, but it was just like, there was this little girl, the same little girl that's hiding behind the Grim Reaper. She was lying on the floor, and in the song it says her face is pale and her body smashed with her beauty gone. And when I say little girl, I mean a young teenager, not a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Somebody in England who's coming of age, which would be 16.
Yeah.
So around about that age group. So, and then the song, the singer of the song just screams, "Isn't that a shame?" in like an artistic way, like distressed, kind of way. And it was just like, when in the song, in the visual. Sorry, I'm trying to remember.
It's all good.
The visuals that I'm seeing in my head is like, that little girl was actually me, as well as me standing over looking at the body. Give me a minute, someone's knocking on the door. Yes, I got my miniatures. They've arrived. So yeah, it was a version of me, and then it was just like the Grim Reaper was just like standing, luring over, like me, you know, like really cockily, was like, he's got his scythe and he's leaning on it and he's like looking at you, and you can just like imagine an eyebrow raised, like, well, and it was just like, wow.
Interesting. And the overall takeaway for you on this is, it is the leveraging of death?
No. The takeaway of this, well, I suppose there isn't really a takeaway, because...
Okay. So that's what I'm kind of connecting to or looking towards.
It started to become more apparent that I wasn't talking to a figment of my imagination, but I was talking to the actual entity. Or I believe it was the actual entity.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
And at me like, do you really want to be like this? Do you want to be like this little girl? do you really want?
Gotcha. Which is leveraging death. Yes.
Death.
Yeah.
Do you want to die early? Basically, you need to get your shit together because otherwise you're going to run yourself into a grave.
Yeah.
But when I woke up, my pendant around my neck snapped, and it wasn't like it just rusted and snapped off because it's metal. The actual chain on my neck's metal. It was like someone unclipped it.
Wow.
It just fell.
Wow.
And that told me that this protection amulet wasn't going to protect me from death.
Right.
That was basically being drummed home to me, essentially. What is actually happening is I can protect myself as much as I want, but I will never be able to protect myself from the shadow of death. So you need to listen to death.
Yes.
You need to stop.
Yes. Death is an incredible advisor.
I agree with this one thing. There's this video game that I play, and death in the video game is divine role is not death. That's just a side gig. He is the god of wisdom, the angel of wisdom.
Yeah. God is death is ultimate wisdom. Yep.
He is wisdom.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting that in most religions or gods in general, they aren't always associated with wisdom. They're associated with power usually, and maybe even omniscience. But omniscience isn't wisdom. The big difference.
I know the Christians have a very obscure version of death because they see death as something feared, but at the same time, death holds a power greater than God himself. And even God is powerless against it. The ultimate power, the ultimate truth.
I mean, most Christians would say, well, death comes from God. So
no, that's how it was twisted. But if you go to the
no, I'm not saying how it's originally. I'm just saying in their belief, they will just say, well, death comes from God.
That's because they put God on a pedestal. But they
I know. I wasn't saying what it originally was and where it came from. I'm just saying their belief. So.
And I'm just saying because I've been doing a lot. I do like a lot of mythology research. I kind of.
You're going to the origins. I'm just saying that today's perception from Christians.
As well as
how
they used to see where it came from and how it's used today.
I'm just making it a point of clarity because if you are communicating with Christians, they are going to then say, "You telling me what Christianity is," and they're going to say, "I'm a Christian, and from my Christian point of view, God is in charge of death. It's not two separate things." You are talking about the origins of the mythology and the understanding, and how Christians took it one way and then they left off death, and So I just making the point of discernment that you're talking about something slightly different. So.
I understand where you're coming from. I understand.
It's just useful. It's useful.
That death is like God, but death holds a power greater than God. That
I agree. It's very profound. Very profound what you're saying. Yeah. I like to understand the origins of mythology because it helps us to give a conceptuality, not necessarily of what is, because some myths are profoundly just inaccurate and nonsense and superstitious and ridiculous. But it gives us an understanding of what people believe in general. And this is important because even though most Christians would, if pressed, they won't say, well, death isn't a separate entity in Christianity. It's not specifically mentioned. But when pressed, they will talk about death as if it is something separate to God. So even though they might not in consciously and deliberately say death is something separate, because that will kind of go against their belief that God is everything. It's just a bit of they'll be a bit kind of contradictory within themselves. But that's the point, though. This idea, the conception of death being a separate entity, it is a very deeply entrenched idea, and it comes from the old myths, So that's why I like to understand.
Do you see the sad thing?
I couldn't hear you. Too much paper sounds. Say again.
All right, just opening the parcel.
Right. Okay. Wow. Sounds like you're having a pillow fight with a stationery store.
Yeah, I got the stormtroopers in my hand. Put it in a box. Oh yeah. In the Emperor's name, you shall eradicate the heretics for the glory of the Imperium. P.S. Welcome, recruit from Sarah. Sad bitch.
Is that your mom?
Yeah, I ordered a parcel on an Amazon account, and I've put like a little note from me because I've registered it as a gift because it's a gift for me.
Yes.
But I bought it, and there's this thing that I put in it that I'm taking a mick at my mum with because it says from Sarah, which is my mum's name, not from Rachel.
Okay. Well, hello, mom. Hello, Sarah. So I don't know if she's still there, but I still say hello to your mom. Brilliant. So this is the package you were waiting for. It came now.
Yeah. It's my space.
Oh, wow. So you're busy unpacking it now?
No. I'm still doing Beena's picture. I'm determined now.
Brilliant. Oh, I love that. I'll
screen share it because I've done quite a lot and I've done some adaptations.
Oh, screen share again then. Yeah.
It's still fundamentally the same picture, so it won't be massively different.
No, it doesn't matter. I enjoy the picture as it is, and same with Beena. She don't care if you do more on it or not. She loves it as is. So yeah.
I'm going to not shade it. I'm just going to make it look pretty.
Yeah. It looks pretty right now.
You see, you're taking away the bun at the back.
Yeah.
You made it more blocky.
Yeah. The only thing is that the little heart on the side that can maybe get color, and then
I'm going to color that.
The thing on the other side, on the right hand side, I'm not sure exactly what all that is, but
that's a dragon.
Oh, I see. Right. That could use a little bit of color as well. Yeah.
I'm going to color its eyes in and do some markings on it, but it's fundamentally white.
Yeah. I gotcha. All right. Brilliant, man. Brilliant.
Just looking at this picture, how far in such a short space of time my art has actually come.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. And your ability to express your energy, your moods, your emotions, your intent. This is what is profound in your art. You aren't communicating just a picture of something. You are communicating energy. You're communicating energy, mood, intent, all of the stuff, and that's communication.
I was actually thinking about asking Ryan if it would be okay if he sends me a few selfies of himself. It doesn't really matter what the selfies look like, but it's the case of so that I can take someone's face and do the same.
You could probably get it off of his Facebook. He's posted selfies on there, so just look at his photos.
I don't like taking them without permission.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's different thing. All right, fair enough.
I might post it in the Facebook group so people can just send me selfies and I can just practice an exercise with it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, ask him if you want to draw him. Yeah.
If you could do the same thing, I'd be appreciative of it.
Me send you a selfie? I don't have any.
You just take a picture and post it and just send it in Messenger.
Well, you're asking something that sounds very, very simple on the surface, but I've never ever taken a picture of me. I've never ever taken not even one selfie. So
it's just for my art. I'm not going to do anything with it. I mean,
no, I don't care. It's just that I don't personally have any interest in taking selfies. So I don't mind you using it.
Come on, help me.
Well, I'm just trying to think of a simpler way where you can just take it directly. Like right now, you can just snap the
screenshot.
Yeah, the screenshot me. Yeah. Well, let me go big screen then. Get out of the screen share, and then because when you go out of the screen share, it puts us full screen, and then just do a screenshot and then just use that. No problem. But I'll take off my headset then. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add a little.
Yeah.
bit.
Well, when you're ready, I'm just saying. I was just trying to say that I'm not set up for that. I don't mind, but it's just that I'm not set up for it, and it's not something that's of interest to me. So, but there's simpler ways to do it, like in this case with the screenshot. So.
I just gotta quickly do some things because the picture is nearly done.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah. I was saying I wish Donna could have joined us also, but she's working, and Donna enjoys you as well and enjoys your art, and I think you enjoy Donna as well, like you enjoy Beena, yes.
Not the same way that I enjoy Beena.
Yeah, no, not the same way, but yeah.
Just because I've spoken to him more,
correct,
and the more I speak to him, the better.
Yeah, if you speak more to Donna, you'll feel that deepness too. Yeah, it just takes a little time.
If I'm perfectly honest, I started off with the same kind of impression of Donna as I do currently with Cher. which is
Interesting.
why I know that the issue was me. But then we kind of
Yeah.
like spoke a little bit, and it changed my
Yeah. No,
perception.
there is a different. I mean, Cher connects in a different way, and she's
The way that she
learning and she's growing, and you know, it's coming for sure. So,
Yeah.
you know, Cher's in she's discovering how to be, and part of how to be is how to communicate. So,
I
you
can
know,
tell you exactly what it is. I know what it is, and I can tell you what it is.
I'm listening. Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick. You know, Cher right now where she's at, she's kind of probably like an 8-year-old essentially.
It's not the way that where she is, and it's not how she connects with things that are being said. It's something else. And that something else, basically, I've seen it a million times with people. What they do is, and I'm not saying this is what she's doing. I'm saying this is where I'm coming from. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah. I'm listening. I'm listening in that context. I fully appreciate that you're articulating your personal viewpoint, not what actually is. Yeah. Your perception.
It's just the way it is with me at the moment.
Yeah. Good. Very powerful.
I've been around people before when I've done like similar groups like I'm doing now, where they will sit down and essentially copy the person running the group, essentially. And they'll copy their personality, the way that they say words, how they phrase words. And they start their own Facebook group and then start stealing. And when I say steal, what I really mean is that they put themselves in direct competition with the person who ran the group initially, and then start basically running their group into the ground so that they can be the more dominant one. And it's purely ego-based.
Yeah.
I
know what you're talking about.
I've noticed that Cher started to go down that path, not necessarily whether she actually did or not. It's just where she's
actually, Cher was in another group before we met, and we met through another group. You know, also I guess personal transformation, self growth. You know, group of that kind. So, and in that group, she was asked specifically to be a moderator, a content provider, and so on. So, you know, so she is all, you know, all coming from a starting point of being a participant in promoting and growing and furthering a group, right? So, and then I made comments in that group, and she like, oh, and then she reached out and connected to me, and that's how we got to be friends. So I'm just saying, to put some context on it, you know, that she is on a different path. And, you know, from my point of view, I encourage those in this group. If you want to go and do your own group and your own thing, absolutely feel free to use everything that I say. I don't have a problem with that. Say again?
It's not the fact that she's starting a new group, and it's not the fact that
No, I know that. Yeah,
carbon copy and then destroy the original group.
Yes, I understand that, and that I think that it is something that actually Cher is dealing with somebody in the other group who is doing that, who's doing exactly what you are saying. They are literally starting their own program. They are advertising for clients. Do you want self-help? And they're looking to destroy the group they're in for that reason. So I don't see this ever happening with Cher specifically. I really don't. But I think you may be picking up on this because this really bothers her. It really troubles her, and she's struggling to deal. And that's what she made this one comment of, in terms of her own impeccability and her conscience. When you've done everything you can with somebody, and then you say no more, it's this particular person, this BMN, this group stealer, this group destroyer. You know, it's just BMN shit. So that's what she's dealing with. And then you may be feeling that because all the time you've known her, this person has been kind of a thorn and a very particular thing in Cher's mind. So she connects to it, she thinks about it, she's talking about it, and she wants to learn to deal with it appropriately. So that's very interesting that you're picking that up. That's really powerful.
That's funny. I'm sorry, it's not funny in what's happening. Because
I know what you mean. Yes,
what's happened before, and it bothers me as much.
And it bothers Cher too. and I think that's what you're picking up. It's really powerful. But I know what you're saying though.
But it's funny the fact that I managed to guess that, although I got the situation wrong. So
yeah, you're picking up on it.
Now tell me psychics don't exist.
No, but there's something else you're picking up too. So you know, because it's a whole confluence of things. So we have to be very careful about our logical deductions, because what you picked up on is Sher's copying, which he does do, and I encourage it, right? But also copy and make it your own. Sher learns in a very particular way. I mean, it's a very slow way of learning. Yes, all of us here, Beena, Donna, all of us, we're all slow learners, but Sher is especially so. Like when she was saying with impeccability, we've spoken about impeccability many times, but she hadn't actually connected yet to impeccability in detail, right? So her way of learning is to copy first and then to make it personal. Some skip that copying step, but this is Sher's mechanism. So and she is and she does make that effort. If you read her long posts, she is making that effort to actually make it her own. You know who copies even more actually is Mary, but this is completely Mary's style. You know, to just to copy it exactly and utilize it and implement it. Yes, she makes it in her own way, you know, makes it her own. She owns it, but she's not going to change the vocabulary much. She's not going to use her own words. She doesn't have her own words, so she just copies it. So there, you know, I do encourage it to a certain extent and say yes, make it your own, but don't be inhibited from copying. If it works for you, use it. If not, use your own. So it just I wanted to say that to see the copying, yes, those BMNs, their entire being is based on copying, but stealing copying. Whereas in the case of Mary and Sher, they copy because it's a starting point for them. It's just the ways their minds work and their imaginations and their whole selves that they need to have that copying as a starting point.
It's well with Mary. I did notice it, but it comes across differently than it does with Cher.
Yes,
with Cher,
yes.
like
Because right. Well, because
like,
Cher has a particular focus, and this is how we came to be connected. So part of Cher's reason for being here is for me to assist Cher to become a life coach.
well,
Mary doesn't no interest in being a life coach.
I know ultimately it's none of my business, you know, and who am I to, like, you know.
No, it is your business because we're in the same group together.
It's I don't know. It does come across that way, and you know, there's. When I looked at her Facebook group when she invited me to it, I did have a little look about it, and I was like, "This isn't for me," because
in whose Facebook group?
I saw something to do with sexual trauma and abuse of sex, and it wasn't just like the one throwaway comment. It was like two comments, two different posts.
Okay. So Cher doesn't have her own Facebook group. She's a moderator in someone else's Facebook group.
No, it's called Cher Speaks.
Oh, she made a group called Cher Speaks. Oh, interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, all right. She did mention that actually. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, interesting. All right.
And and I just got it last night, and I looked at it, and looked at the group, and I saw,
right.
And I've actually had two members of my family who have suffered that kind of abuse, and I myself have suffered a indecent touching at a young age. It wasn't at their level, wasn't even close to their level, but it was indecent touching someone who was older. So that's a bit of a topic that when I see, I'm automatically put off.
Why? Yeah, but I mean it's specific, and you know, keep in mind that Cher suffered profound sexual abuse as a child. You know, so
sexual abuse is profound. I mean, my mum was quite harrowing as well.
Well, I mean, her father had sex with her.
Yeah, well, my mum actually had my nan's boyfriend and my nan rape her. And when I say rape, I mean it was physical, it was emotional, it was particularly quite gruesome and on one of the extremes. Ones. And because of that, it was just when you listen to her talk about it, even little details about it, you can tell it was quite of a vindictive, nasty thing. My nan and my nan's boyfriend impacted onto her for no other reason apart from their own selfish needs.
Yeah, I didn't mean things as a degree thing. I'm just saying that, for sure that
no, I'm
it's
trying
not,
to say that there is a degree. It's all considered to be harrowing, but there is a degree and extreme.
Yeah.
Pain.
Yeah. So, and her whole, if you hear her story, her life story, sex and sexual abuse, and I mean, there's a lot to it. I mean, she was a prostitute for a while, and was used, and all this shit. So yeah, it's not surprising that the group would have this as some component to it, because it's something that is a big deal in her past. I mean, she's moved past that now, but she has some connectivity to that in a deep way. So,
well, in my mum's story, it started with her when she was like 7 and didn't stop with her until 18 when she left home.
Same for sure. Yeah.
But the whole thing is that because it's happened to not just one member of my family, but 2 members of my family, and I myself had.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject. In other words, I hear you, and I do feel it is appropriate in such things.
But none of us, and I mean none of us, go around and make Facebook groups about it, because the Facebook groups come across to me as attention seeking. I'm using something that happened to me.
Right. Yeah. I'd be surprised if that is Cher's focus.
I'm not just saying that's how I view it.
Yeah. No, I agree, and it is bothersome, and that does happen, and I see it a lot also, and it is problematic that people do use their trauma for purposes of extorting attention. And yes, it is very yuck, and it is very I agree.
And I've been around a lot of people that do that, trust me.
So I try not to generalize though, because even though it is in general, these trauma groups are like that. It's not only the person running the group, but everybody coming there. It's all about attention. So it's like, but but if you listen to
said that as a trans woman, if I get raped, I asked for it.
Right. I mean, if you ever hear Cher's story, she's just putting it out to release it, and she's made peace with the past, and she doesn't want to live where she's hiding this stuff, and because she felt like she was living a lie. So when she wrote her story and she put it out, she stopped feeling like she was living a lie. So this was hugely transformative for sure. Massive, very big release, very big shift.
Well, I'm glad it was for. However, in my opinion, when you have something that is that disgusting and that vindictive, someone who's inflicted something like that on you, especially at a young age, you actually have to go and seek counselling and therapy, to go into a self-awareness group and try and do what they're doing, do your abuse, is not going to work.
No, not necessarily. That's not actually true, Rachel. I'm sorry to disagree and to be contrary.
It was in my case. It was in my family's case. It was in my family's case.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Right. Simply because it was accurate in your case does not necessarily mean it is so for everyone, and vice versa.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
That is not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying.
Okay. Right. So that's what I was just trying to say, that some people don't find value in therapy. They actually, it's counterproductive for them, makes things worse.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Yeah. And others find, like Cher. Cher came to peace and resolution through our group, through not the Facebook group, but through the Zoom group. Through the Way of Impeccability, she got to a resolution. So I don't know, maybe I guess some of our sessions are like therapy and counseling sessions, and they have been. So okay, it's very specialized. I mean, yes, in Way of Impeccability, it's about the personal philosophy of living, but on the side, I kind of do therapy and counseling. Also, I don't like to come from that angle, but in effect, that's what it becomes. It's not my focus, but I am a good counselor and a therapist. But I don't come at things from that angle. But it just happens like by default that it happens to be that way. But I'm just saying that people find peace and resolution in different ways. It's quite fascinating to me.
One of those things. I'm sorry, but it's sexual abuse is one of those things where it needs to be handled in a professional, controlled environment where all variables may not necessarily be able to be controlled fully, but has resources there. If things go wrong, it will not be detrimental to one's mental health.
Yeah.
In our group, it is a safe environment, true, yes. But it is not a clinical, controlled environment where there are resources to help if things go wrong.
Right.
And
right. Well,
that is like.
Yeah. And now in the case of.
That is the way I'm going from.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the case of the group, when there's multiple people, to go into the details of the sexual stuff and the abuse and the psychology, and this is not appropriate generally, unless it's already been resolved and you're talking about the process of how you came to be resolved and where you're at now, then it's fine. But the actual specific details of it, that's typically private, one-on-one, so yeah, very different. Very different.
A true sexual abuse victim will never ever go into detail, and they don't like being called victims.
Yeah, I think that's Rachel, you're generalizing again. In your case, yes. I don't think that's always so. People, especially.
I made it clear that this was my case.
Right.
I thought I was making it clear that this was my case. I was using those words.
No, right. But you said a sexual abuse victim will never. You see, that's a very generalized
statement. A sexual abuse victim in my case.
Okay, yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. No, it's just the word expression. I listen very, very carefully and very precisely. So I heard what you were saying. So that's why I'm checking, because I didn't think that's what you meant, what you said.
I am very.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I am very precise when I'm going about my own opinion.
Yeah. But it sounded like a general statement. That's why I was saying. Okay, I got you now. I got you. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, it absolutely fascinates me, and it's something that I do believe therapists and counselors can learn more. They tend to generalize and think that there's an approach to resolving things. No, there isn't. Each case is absolutely unique, and sometimes you want intensity, and sometimes you want casualness. It's appropriateness, in other words. So that's, for me, that's my approach. It's always about appropriateness. I mean, I understand the whole clinical thing and all that, but it depends on the individual. Some want it and it works, some doesn't. So yeah, it gotta be appropriate, right? In particular.
Actually, when I did therapy, I had a psychiatrist and two separate counsel workers, and they were never decisive like that for me. In fact, they were like, medically, and what happens in the brain when you hallucinate, this is what's happening.
Wow.
And these are methods to get around that or to rationalize.
Yeah. They were telling you, yeah?
They weren't telling me in the sense of being definitive. They were expressing that there are coping mechanisms that I have to figure out. So I don't know if you watched it at a certain stage now it's evolved into something different. Or...
Yes. That's why I recommended you read R.D. Laing, because R.D. Laing, through perspective shifting, he said that mental illness to him was not a negative, wasn't a defunct, or in general, schizophrenia specifically he was talking about, not actual when there's a fault in the brain or something, when there's a hardware or software malfunction, but schizophrenia. He said this was an evolutionary part of humanity. These people were on the forefront of evolution, and they were pushing the boundaries of consciousness and awareness and understanding. In other words, to him, people who had schizophrenia were just magical, incredible gifts to the world and to the universe and to humanity. That's you.
There's a good thing about that, because obviously, like, I've hallucinated before, and I have a psychotic illness, delusional disorder. Right. Which is what its medical title is.
Right, but that just sounds dreadful, rather than being a spiritual gifted person.
No, because we're going for medical science, where it's not about metaphysical.
Exactly.
But I contacted someone on YouTube who is someone I look towards for my own spiritual practice growth. And he said, it was quite lovely of him to say, that in shamanism, drugs are used not for the way that drugs are used to a person who is drug abusing.
Right.
It's not
right.
the same drugs that they will use, but it's not for the same reason. And someone who's a shaman, someone who's a shaman uses them regularly, but is not addicted to them because they use it for a spiritual purpose.
Yes.
And what the drug is used for is it's used to induce madness. Because in order to contact the spiritual, you have to be in a state of madness.
Yeah.
And all spiritual practices that do rituals throughout all of the centuries all do the same things and all use drugs, because it's to induce that madness, to break down your reality so that you can see beyond the reality. So you can see things as they truly are. If you see somebody who is caused by a hallucinogenic drug, then that is just chemicals around your body. And that's the difference, to not get involved with that, because that's just my projecting itself into reality. In order to contact my gods, I need to induce a state of madness.
Yep. To step outside your boundaries, in other words, to enter into the unknown, to get outside of the known of yourself.
Then you ignore everything around you and you focus on internalizing. And internally, not what you see physically, but internalizing is the gods coming to you because you've induced that madness. And I'm like, well, I don't need to take drugs in order to hallucinate. And he was like, that's because you have a very old inborn ability, which is a true gift from the universe. You would have, in an old society, wouldn't be seen as ill, but would be taken as a prophet or been taken as a shaman practitioner. And with me being transgender, that is also a gift. So I have two things that are profound gifts, which makes me highly spiritual.
Yes. And I would say
my ego's going through the roof at this point.
No, I love it. It's really magical. Rachel, I would say, from my opinion, instead of prophet, I would say oracle.
No, I say prophet in like the old Christian terms.
Yeah, exactly. But in any context of the word prophet, to me personally, more accurate is to say you are an oracle. Because oracles, sort of, but prophets have an intention specifically to push stuff out into the world. Whereas an oracle, stuff comes through them, people come and ask them, they're not pushing. Prophets push, and you don't push the connectivity. If somebody asks you, you share it. If you share it through your art, in other words, it's coming through you, but you're not pushing it. Prophets tend to push it. They have a focused agenda. And prophets tend to say, this is good for you. You're not saying this is good for you. You're just saying, this is my goodness, which I see as good. And here it is. You do with it what you want. So there's a slight difference in intent to prophets. Yeah?
I suppose that's what a prophet does, like physically, but call me naive. But I might be a bit naive. However, when I, like Jesus Christ, for example, he's the only prophet that comes to mind right now. So I'm going to use it. Jesus Christ to me wasn't seen as somebody pushing his ideas out into the world and pushing them onto other people with a set gender in mind. For me, it comes across more like he's got his own philosophies that he is teaching people, much like you are now, teaching people to see the way he sees, but without using his eyes, if that makes sense. So rather than putting it out, he's saying, this is how I see it. And then they internalize that. But then over generations, that got turned into something different.
But in the general so in the general conception of prophets, very few people see Jesus as a prophet. The Muslims do, yes, but very few people do. You know, in Islam, he's a prophet, but very few people would see Jesus as a prophet. And if you look at him and compared to the other prophets, like the typical ones that they know in the New Testament, it's John the Baptist, obviously, but you know, Isaiah and Ezekiel and all of those. If you look at them, they are pushing very hard. They were pushing a particular point and agenda. Absolutely. They hammer the same thing over and over, pushing. So yes, Jesus didn't push, but that is in the usual conception of prophet. It doesn't actually put him in that typical conception of a prophet. And if you take it outside of Christianity, kind of the same thing. I mean, technically, a prophet is telling you something that's going to come in the future, you know. But in the modern conception, the prophets, they have a specific message and they are pushing that message. So to me, Jesus is more of an oracle than a prophet. But I'm just distinguishing, because when you said the word that you're a prophet, I just want to bring this particular perception of awareness to it, so that, you know, to be aware of how you use prophet is different to maybe how it's generally conceived. So, you know,
Yeah.
but for me, you're an oracle, man. You're a profound oracle.
That's why I prefer the term spiritual healer rather
There
than
you go.
spiritual worker.
Yeah.
Because that's definitive, isn't it?
Exactly.
And
Or,
for me, it's more accurate.
right. Or spiritual conduit, which is an oracle.
I got into a conversation with a practicing psychic who was trying to come across as she was special because she was psychic. And being psychic is not something that's very common. And I get it, it's not common. And she was like, and it's like being a baker. You have certain skill sets that you're utilizing. And I just came into the show and I was like, first of all, what you're doing doesn't apply to being a baker, because a baker is a job occupation. Being a psychic isn't a job occupation. It's something you're doing to help people who are struggling.
Right.
You're doing a spiritual service, not a physical service, which is where a lot of psychics go wrong. If you can make money off somebody who can afford it, who can afford that psychic reading, then that's a different matter, because they're giving back when you're giving something to them. But for someone who can't afford it, I don't agree with it. Someone who can't afford it needs that spiritual aid and that spiritual assistance should be able to get it, because everyone has the capability to do it. We're all born with psychic abilities. And she was like, and I've had it since I was 5 years old. And it's like, love, everyone on the planet had it when they were 5 years old. You're not special. You're not unique. You're just a person who's decided to use these spiritual gifts for personal gain. I don't agree with that.
So to me, you know, because I also have to live, and while I haven't really succeeded in making a living,
but that's different.
No, I understand. I just wanted to say the system that I want to shift to is that those who can afford it subsidize those who can't. So if you're in a you know, if your personal situation is such that you can afford to pay something and it's a donation, your donation becomes disproportionate to what somebody else is, because those who can subsidize those who can't. I like this system. This is to me a system that balances this, which enables the spiritual practitioner to make a living, and it also enables the spiritual practitioner to connect to everybody as appropriate.
Yeah, but that's a good system, because again, that's giving something back to somebody who can't afford it.
Exactly. It's a system that enables precisely what you were saying. Her system, it only focuses and targets certain people. So my system, it's inclusive of everybody, and in the appropriateness of everything, it enables everybody to participate and everybody to be able to be there, including the practitioner, because without some sort of contributions, well, then I couldn't do this either, you know. So.
Yeah, exactly. It enables the practitioners to carry on doing what they're doing.
Right. But I'm not exclusive, in other words. Right. I'm inclusive.
Without making a quick buck.
Exactly. It's about inclusivity. So, okay, I still have to find the part where I do connect to people who can contribute. I'm only connecting to those who can't, but it'll come.
Well, Ryan's done it. Ryan's contributed when he could.
Yes.
And
but,
I'm having money issues at the moment.
Yeah,
I've been having money issues for a long time, and I know that as soon as I get money, like if I get into a job in special effects artistry, right? If I become a special effects artist, I'll be coming and going from the US in the first place, because that's where it made me.
Exciting. Exciting.
I can be earning the maximum amount for a special effects artist can be anywhere between 24,000
at the very low end.
the very lowest it gets is
Wow.
about 15,000. The maximum it's ever been is 99 million.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the
And I know that
average,
I need,
right? So you know, the average household income, the average is 57,000. That includes all the low end, minimum wage jobs, right? If you exclude minimum wage jobs, that jumps to 75,000. So understand, if you're just a typical ordinary special effects artist, your wage is likely to be 75,000.
if I just getting started in it, my wage would be the minimum, which would
Yeah,
be
yeah. But I'm saying once you established a little bit, and so
yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
they,
then that would purely depend on the movie that I'm doing
right.
the special.
I'm just saying the money in America is in a different category. You know, there's lots and lots
Yeah.
and loads of money. People have money like crazy. You know, just hanging out here at Starbucks. You know, I mean, this is my office right now, in the mornings at any rate. And it essentially just, I have the little small coffee, and that costs me $80 a month.
Well,
Or it
I
will,
know,
but I'm just saying, the
yeah,
cheapest,
but
the cheapest, smallest coffee once a day is $80 a month. Because it's 264.
the
It's
point that I was
amazing.
trying to get at
Yeah.
was if I managed to get that job, and I'm going to say if because it's not set in stone whether or not I'll actually be able to do it.
It's when.
Yeah, when I can do it, then I know that I will be contributing more.
I know.
To the school.
Rachel, I deliberately was kind of downplaying it because I don't want this to be even a thought and a focus. I appreciate it. I know that if appropriate you will, and when not you don't, and that's the system. It's as
Yeah,
simple as that.
but-
It's as
and
simple as that. So
and it
yeah,
is
I
because
appreciate it.
I would contribute more.
I know.
I don't care
I
about the
know.
amount of money that I can get.
I know.
If I can
I
give you a
know.
pound here and
I
there,
know.
then for me to give
Yeah,
you
I know. And I truly appreciate that. I know. I'm just humbled. So,
I know,
you
and
know,
it's good quality to have, but I'm saying that for me, and this isn't for you, this is for me personally, my own model set. So regardless of how much of a stink you put up to it,
yes.
it'll be the same. If I can give you a grand, then I'll be giving you a grand. If I can give you 35 million, then you're getting 35 million.
I hear you. That's exactly how I feel about these things, and my perspective, and that's how I've lived my life too. When I shared, and I was a little inappropriate in my sharing. Sometimes I gave too much, and it affected my business. But you know, it's a sharing economy. Even in our local selves, it is a magical economy. It's quite magical. So. Very, very profound, Rachel. I love it. It's a big deal. It's a very big
It's
deal.
because I don't feel indebted in any way, but I feel appreciative of what you've
Just
done.
pause right there. That is the key. That for me, as part of the way of impeccability and the noble ideal, this is what we aspire to never feel indebted, and to at the same time always feel appreciative, and the two coexist. I
Yes.
don't want anyone ever, ever, ever to feel indebted to me. Never. This I truly do not want.
What do you think
Right?
of that nose, by the way?
Say that again.
Quickly, what do you think of that nose?
Oh, let me see. Nose. Ooh, it's very cute. It's very put. It's very subtle.
I'm
It's good.
working with shading.
Gotcha.
Well, at least I'm trying to.
Beena's nose is a source of some teasing because she has a nose that is unlike any of her siblings' nose, and it's like her mother says, Beena, where did you get this nose? And I said to Beena, you should have teased your mom a bit. I said, Mom, that's my question that I should be asking. You shouldn't be drawing attention to this.
Well,
Because it's not her father's nose, it's not her mother's nose. But anyway, they don't think like that. They're very innocent and pure, So
but
it's just it would be a poor joke. But anyway,
the nose is
so
purely the
right.
art style.
But what is
Go
right?
for.
But what is interesting with Beena's nose is that it is a nose that it looks like a nose of a very dear friend of the family's who died. I think either around about the time of Beena's death or shortly before, shortly after. But anyway, it's the nose of a very dear friend. So that's kind of interesting. So there is a bit of specialness
That's how
about
you-
her nose.
Does that tell you? Was Beena around when this person died?
I don't know. I don't know if she knew this person or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But anyway, her nose is just something that is distinctive for her, you know. So that's interesting. I like it. I like the way you have the nose. I think it's just perfect. It's very perfect. Very perfect.
See, that's the whole thing, because with my art, I don't like pleasing people. I just please myself with it. But I like getting other people's opinions, because when I look with my eyes, I'm so used to the picture by the time I'm drawing it, I can't actually put it on the floor.
Yes, that is independence of being, and that is the magic of perspective shifting.
Like,
when we are able to do that. Yeah.
What to say before, do you know, when we were in that group and you said it's not necessarily being right, appropriateness is not necessarily always being right.
Yeah. Impeccability is not necessarily being right. Yeah.
I didn't want. I mean, I wanted to say it, but I didn't get around to saying it because there was just too many voices, and I didn't want.
That's all right.
But I've never once taken it that way. In fact, I do remember an instance when you told me that it's about learning to be wrong and enjoying
Yes.
When you said that, I was like, oh, is there something that I've missed?
No. It's just, that's the magic of it. Every time we go into these delineations and understandings of these power conceptions, they get extended. That's the magic of it. We see more. So yeah, I love it. But that ability, like you were saying, to not care about an opinion, but to solicit it anyway and get value from it, to have the ability to simultaneously be able to have contradiction or seeming contradiction. This is a very, very powerful ability and skill. Very powerful skill. Because much coexists as apparent contradiction. It isn't really. It's just a matter of context.
Mm-hmm. And it's just that when you said that, I don't know if you said that for the benefit of someone there that was new.
No. I was just because it was a general discussion, and also because in the context, remember, we were in Facebook Live. So I'm not only talking to people in the, the people on Zoom. I'm talking to just, people in the group and just in general. So I was commenting on the somewhat usual, or in general in the world out there, people misunderstand impeccability and think it means never being wrong. So I just wanted to, or always being right. And I just wanted to put, because then people are like, yeah, but I can't be impeccable because I'm not always right. And it's just this conception shift. So that's why I'm just kind of eliminating misunderstanding. The original, if you look in the dictionary, even now, the definition is to be without sin for impeccability. So, and of course they think to be without sin, that means you're faultless, you're flawless, you're perfect, which it's just a crap idea, So you can be impeccable and be full of lots of sin, or nonsense or mistakes or whatever. That's why I take these, that's why they capital I impeccability. Because when we capitalize it, and we're saying, by default, when we say capital T trust, it means that it's our extended definition of the term. And unfortunately with dictionaries, they're pretty much always somewhat inaccurate. And it's not that they're crappy, it's just they don't have the space to be accurate. Because to get into the full meaning of a word, you can write a whole book on just one word. So they don't have the space for it. So they always do approximations or more or less. So dictionary definitions, we have to be very, very cautious about and understand that they are by default somewhat inaccurate. And what we are doing, we are extending it and we're getting into the fullness of the meaning. And sorry, I just want to say one quick little thing. Olivia and I both had this same thing independently. We always felt that words have a meaning. They exist in space and time. And not words in general, but conceptions, like impeccability, those types of conceptions, that they exist independently of us somewhere out in time and space. And that if we just kind of reach out a little bit, we can tap into that existence, that energy, that conception, and draw the meaning from it. So there's a meaning to these words, the bigger meaning that is not my understanding, but exists independently of me. That's truly how I feel. And this is the power of my vocabulary and my word usage, is that I tap into that greater meaning, that independent meaning, I should say. Isn't that interesting?
It is, but there is actually one word in the English language that you can't write a book on because it has no definitive answer.
Which one's that?
That word is the word normal.
Yes.
There is no definition. Yeah. Or should I say there are so many definitions that you can't write a book on it.
And normal is oxymoronic.
Exactly. What is normal?
It is like, to me, it is the epitome of a sophisticated, unobvious oxymoron. I've actually written about this, about normal, and this precise sort of quandary or conundrum when it comes to normal. And people say, "Oh, I just want to be normal." I say, "Well, you're aiming for the impossible. You're going to have a much easier time being perfect than you are going to be normal." It is, and one of the profound, really powerful conceptions, which has been massively valuable, not just for me, but in those I share with, is the concept of the square circle. Normal is a square circle conception, and in this case, a square circle being something that we conceive but cannot actually exist. I've told you the circle of the square circle with the people with a post-hypnotic suggestion, and now they try to draw it. Yeah. So we believe something can exist, but in actuality it can't. The normal is the same thing. It's that square circle conception.
But normal can exist. It exists in a way that it can't be a definitive.
Exactly.
So when you say you're not normal, when you say to a person that's not normal, what do you mean by that? Is that not normal for you?
Yes.
Or is that normal?
Yes. That's why normal is it's an oxymoronic fuck up word, and it's just you always you're pretty much always miscommunicating when you use the word normal.
Yeah. Well, you can still use it and be in an intelligent way, which is when you say that's not normal, what you're actually doing is you're unintelligently using the word normal. What should follow up by that is that's not socially normal, or that's not normal for you, or I don't do that, so therefore that's not normal.
To be more technical, normal is a conditional word. It is conditional on the context. You cannot really use it appropriately and effectively without context. Now, sometimes the context might be implied. Wow, I'm the only one here now. Somebody about to come in, but right for that moment, I was the only one. Ow. Wow, interesting.
That's not ow, that's cool. That means you got the run of the place. You can run around naked if you wanted to.
I guess. Well, there was staff here, but
naked rain
so normal. The context needs to be specified usually, and not just implied, but it needs to be contextually used. Then we can use it appropriately, right? That's why I love appropriateness. So it's such a magical thing, and there's no real synonym for appropriate.
It's why I've gone out of my way to learn social norms so that I can go against.
Yes, exactly. So that you can know what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. Because when it comes to most... Right. Well, I was going to say...
Let's make a statement.
Yeah. Well, I was going to play with it a little bit to say when it comes to social norms, to be inappropriate is actually to be capital A appropriate. Right?
Because you're not following your own rules when you're being socially normal.
Exactly.
What you're actually doing is you're following society's rules. You're doing exactly what society tells you to do.
Exactly. So, which is
like
inappropriate.
You sitting there right now, it's socially normal for you to sit there and just have an old conversation with me. But if you start picking your nose, then you're not being socially normal. If you are, you're not being socially normal.
Right. And for oracles and prophets and spiritual messages and conduits and all of the other magical beings, we do need to learn what is the social norms, because sometimes it is appropriate for us to be conventional, right? And sometimes it is appropriate for us to be unconventional. To know what is normal allows us to know what is more.
So it's very important to know that. Yeah.
And I can do that with my art because, and the way that this connects is, I told you before that I draw a lot of erotic art.
Yeah.
To just draw that straight up, it can leave people feeling a bit uncomfortable, like, you know, why are you drawing sex? But if I use it in an intelligent way, which is something I've started to do recently, like if I want to draw a naked man hugging a naked woman or a naked trans woman or just another naked person, then that is erotic. But they're embracing each other in such a way where, yeah, you can see their genitalia, but it becomes compassionate. It becomes intimate.
Yes, that's powerful.
Becomes something other than just erotica.
Appropriateness, and when we know, when just from a spirit warrior point of view, why do we want to understand social norms? Not just so that we can be appropriate and inappropriate as necessary, but so that we can be strategic. This is very key, so that we don't end up doing our own thing in bubbles and cause ourselves trouble. Because, like I said, sometimes it is appropriate to be socially normal in the conventional and just conformist because it's appropriate and it's at best use of our energy. And it's just simple. It's just a matter of strategy. So it's very good to be aware of that because we inherently are so far from the social norm, right? That it is important to be aware that what is normal for us might not be so for others.
Yeah, I was going to actually post a story in the Facebook group, but it's a Warhammer story. The only problem
You post whatever you want.
The only problem is Warhammer's universe is very xenophobic.
Yes. You post whatever you like. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You post whatever you
I do
like.
like the universe.
I mean, if for some reason you post something that's grossly inappropriate, which I sincerely doubt will happen, but I can always just remove it. So.
Yeah, there's that. But I just don't want to cause anyone any distress.
Nah, please don't worry, because the intent with which you post it is as important as the post itself. So please don't worry. And if somebody does take offense, I'll be the first one to defend you. So no worries. It's on them. It's on them. You are not posting with the intent to be offensive. Our group is an open group where we are saying and it's in the group description, intent to goodness. When we assume intent to goodness and not only assume but insist that we are in a group where our first default perception is to insist that somebody comes from a perspective and a point of being where they're operating according to that intense intent to goodness. So,
I told you before that when I write something, I write it based on what I'm seeing in my head, and what I'm seeing in my head is usually done by music.
But your underlying key point is that you are sharing and you are doing. It's all based on a profound intent to goodness. So, if somebody in the group is seeing your post and they take umbrage, then I want to say, whoa. This might be problematic to you personally, but look at the intent that it's posted. So when we see something and we assume it's negative, that's on you. Because if you had made the effort to find out what is the intent behind this post, you would have seen it as pure goodness. Now, that's the key. We have to, if I don't understand your post, this just simply means I'm not understanding fully how you are connecting this post to your intent to goodness. So I have to say, I don't understand, and go and say, hey, Rachel, that's really fascinating. I'm trying to, I can't quite see where you're coming at with this post. Explain to me. And then you explain this. So this is a very powerful thing when we insist that somebody operates from intent to goodness. That way we never get offended. We never get upset. We never get bothered. And when we don't understand, we go and check. But we default to saying, they're coming from a point of goodness. That's our default. We don't assume, oh, this is a stupid post, Rachel's being crappy. No, we never do that. That's the entire basis of the whole New Nobility Society. It is founded on this one single thing, this insistence that others operate from a perspective of the intent to goodness, the insistence on it.
What I would end up doing I'd be using the ideology and the law of Warhammer and the physical characters of Warhammer.
It's all good.
Characters based on that, because it's so xenophobic, I have to make these characters act as if they would in that. And what I mean by xenophobic is they have this saying where they call anyone who is an alien a xeno. And they are automatically heretics. To sleep with an alien is to commit heresy. You will get burned or executed on the spot. However, when you look at Warhammer and you look beyond the xenophobia, I mean, humans never ever be xenophobic towards other humans, regardless of your skin color. It's never like that. It's purely different races. But when you look beyond that, you actually see this vibrant retelling of human history. It's so influenced by philosophy. I can't say the word. Philosophy. It's heavily influenced by philosophy. It's heavily influenced by religion, and it's heavily influenced by human history.
Rachel, the history of humanity up until this point, pretty much. Okay, maybe just in the last century, even less. This century, maybe, has xenophobia not been front and center. But you go back in time, all of our history is based on profound xenophobia.
Exactly.
So Warhammer is an excess which makes us realize our heritage. So treat it in that sense. If somebody says, oh, you know what, Warhammer is very xenophobic, say, yes, so has humanity been. It is good to be aware that this is our origins and where we come from, so that we can rise above it and evolve out of it.
I mean, they've explained why it's so xenophobic, because Warhammer has this tagline for the entire brand, regardless of whether you read a comic book or regardless of if you collect the miniatures or read the lore. The underlining thing for it is, in the darkness of the future, there is only war. So the entirety of Warhammer is based on war. It's based on
exactly.
of it.
So it's
and
contextual.
Exactly. It even puts you in a soldier's boots.
Right. So it's contextual, exactly. And that's the point. It's contextual awareness. So you post whatever you wish, truly. Feel free to post absolutely whatever you wish. It is a self-awareness, right? Self-improvement, self-discovery discussion group. So if that's part of your self-discovery, your self-awareness, your self-improvement, that's what you post. This is the intent and the goal and the point and the purpose of the group is for the posts to be about what is meaningful and purposeful and valuable to you, what extends you. And okay, if you get discussion on it, good. If you don't, makes no difference. Because also just posting it is a mechanism where we connect to the universal, we get perspective on ourselves and all this. So there's value. You post whatever the hell you like. Absolutely.
Well, that makes me feel better about it.
Yeah. And if somebody says something, you just say, yeah, just ask Sil about it. That's it. If you don't want to deal with it, But I've never seen contentious, disgruntled posts or like you see in other groups. I've never seen it in our group, so it's not a problem. And if people don't like your posts and leave because of it, I'm happy with that, and they don't belong in the group in the first place. If you don't have that openness to see what you are doing, you're not in this group. It's not the group for you. You need to evolve a bit more. Then I don't mean to be hierarchical, but that really is it. You're not open yet.
Degree from what I gathered.
I mean, look at your posts of the mythology, right? You were reluctant in the beginning to post those two, and look at the response. Beena and Donna and Olivia, they all just loved your posts. Sure, she loves your mythology posts. So, Mary, all of them,
Wasn't aware she liked any of my posts.
Oh yeah. Oh, she said it. She said it a bunch of times. Yeah.
I know she commented on one of them, which wasn't to do with mythology. It's because I was feeling a bit angry and low. So I posted about how I was on the floor and the monster was kind of like trying to eat me.
She doesn't always comment a lot because she's very busy. In the other group, and I think there's actually two of them. Being a moderator and an admin in those groups, she's tasked with responding and commenting and posting. So she's actually like kind of working almost for free, I might add,
in these other groups, they sort of take advantage of her earnestness somewhat and, willingness to help. So she does a lot, but, just the way it is. Yeah.
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 I mean,
Our group doesn't
almost a few times.
get huge comment change the way the other groups do, but it will come. I've noticed that I belong to some writers groups, two of them in particular, and they have like 150,000 members, and typically it's less than 1% that comment regularly. So in our group we got what, I don't know, 900 now. So that means it's 8 or 9 people.
Well, I came close a few times to leaving the group, your group, and
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
was.
boring.
No, it's not because it was boring. I didn't feel like I belonged there, and then I realized very quickly it's because actually it was more than likely my ego saying, "I don't like this change. Start leaving."
Gotcha. No, I'm glad you stayed because you are a significant contributor. And if you notice, yes, there are people that post and they're a little bit self-promoting because they're running some program or whatever. I leave it because if your post has some value to it in terms of, something at some point of wisdom, understanding, perspective, okay, I'll leave it. But slowly but surely, the group is shifting to people just posting kind of general stuff to it becoming more personal. And you are a magical mechanism for that because you post what's purely personally relevant to you. And this is what the group is actually about. And I've encouraged her to share her personal posts of her personal, the long stories. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
whether people read them or not, it's irrelevant. It is the fact that you are sharing your personal journey. This is what the group is all about. So over time, as more people start to see, oh, you know what, I can share my crap, I can share my weird stuff, I can share my own personal stuff. You are
Yeah.
very fundamentally, contributing to that. So that's why I say you post whatever the hell you like because it encourages other people or it enables them to say, well, if Rachel can post this, I can post my weird shit. Great. That's what
I
we
bet
want.
you they
We want to
sat
see
there.
your weird shit. We want to see all your weird shit. So,
I bet you they sat there like, wait a
Right.
minute, this isn't about self-promotion.
Right.
This is
Exactly. And they can get a clue from my comments. They can see how I'm responding to those. Whoa, Silla's cool with this. Silla's enjoying this. Sil says, wow, this is like magic. Oh, okay. It clues them onto what the focus is. And by default in the self-promoting posts, I just like them. I don't love them typically, even though they have some merit and value. I'm kind of low-key and I don't typically comment on those either. Just like, okay, it's filler. It's filler. But over time, as people posting more and more, those will be a smaller percentage. And then eventually I'll even say, no self-promoting. That's it. You make your own post. This is about personal points. That's it. Yeah, you want to put a little link at the bottom, fine. But, no overt self-promotion.
I mean, I like that guy before that was doing his own YouTube videos, self-awareness, and he pointed it in there, tagged you in it, and said, "Can you criticize this to help me improve?"
Yeah,
I love that. I was just like, "Oh my god, this guy."
Yeah. We do. We get it. People come, they go, but many of them are doing it as a business, and it's a pity that there isn't the system in more general. Actually, for me, in the new nobility, that people who do stuff that what we do, and I'm including you here too, they get sponsored. They just you get you get universal basic income, and the point of universal basic income is it is to subsidize and to sponsor and to enable each individual to follow their passion. That's it.
Right.
That's it.
So how many
You get
people?
paid. You get paid by society to follow your passion. Because when we follow our passion, don't we profoundly contribute to the world?
To the universe mainly, but
To the
I've never
universe,
thought about
exactly.
it to the world.
Right. But I mean, the world, okay, yes, the universe, right. But I mean, we all, when I see your art, it's like, I enjoy this. When I see somebody's music, this is cool. I'm benefiting because of they following their passion. They don't care whether I enjoy it or not, makes no difference to them, but it's their passion and I'm enjoying their passion. So this is, and again, inventors and, anybody who does stuff, they follow their passion, builders, construction. Some people's passion is plumbing, for fuck's sakes.
Well,
I love those people whose passion is plumbing.
Slightly off topic a little bit. Beena better than I do. Would she be comfortable with this being open, or would she prefer this to be covered up?
Which parts? Oh, yeah, I was looking. Which
The
to
whole
be?
chest, upper arm area.
She was happy with it as you were, so I would say leave it exactly like this. So she
I
liked this
faded the face
picture
in a
as
little
it
bit.
is. So
Is that
so
looking good?
yeah,
Is
it's magical. It's
it a little
magical.
crap?
Yeah. No, no, no. It's magical. So leave it right here. This looks like she has tears in her eyes, but it's magical joy
They're supposed to
tears.
be
So.
shine, like I
I
shine.
know. But it doesn't matter. I know it shine, and you do see it as shine, but it actually it takes it both ways. So no, I just love this. Leave it as is. It's perfect. It really is. It really is. It really is. Because it is not about the physical representation. Beena is spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, and her heart. Her heart is a bit naked. Yeah.
That way, like that heart there.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good that because she has this openness, this nakedness. Even though in her culture, obviously, nakedness is, and even showing skin, it's not part of the culture. But she is not a typical representation of
That's
her
why I
culture.
find her so fascinating.
Oh, she's very fascinating.
I find her
Yes.
fascinating because of her ideals in her religion are so very different to the ideals of mine. Like you said, her religion's like cover up. My religion's like be naked.
Yes, but
You can have a term for it. It's
she
called
is
Rycliffe.
profoundly accepting and completely enjoys yours, despite her being, she's a very deep practitioner of her religion. I mean, I call her a foremost scholar of Islam because her understanding, her depth, her insight, she really knows the stuff. She's really paid attention to it. There's a lot going on there. But that openness of hers and that flexibility, this is quite profound. It's really something special. It's very magical. Yeah, I really enjoy and appreciate Beena to a great extent. And I spend a lot of time with Beena. I mean, we have become exceedingly close. So it's very magical. Very magical. I'm really appreciative of the opportunity that has come and that closeness. So very powerful. Very powerful.
I can kind of gather that, because I'm a very deep practitioner of my faith.
Yes.
But like Beena, I don't take it to the extremist level. You can be a deep practitioner without being extremist.
Oh yeah. And
In fact,
also, yeah.
My understanding of the whole Muslim faith was it's very much like Buddhism, being a Buddhist, because it's like promotion of peace and love.
Oh yeah. The extremists totally fuck up. They fuck it up. I mean, they get it all wrong.
And it's so sad that my own racist country would turn their religion into a means of hate. Oh, they bomb people. Like, no, well, they don't.
Yeah, but there's a good reason why. Because much in Islam shows up the flaws of Christianity. Yeah. Simple thing. Nowhere in the Quran will you see the pronoun he or she, for that matter, in reference to Allah. Never.
It's always by name, isn't it?
It's always Allah. Allah has no sex. Allah is energy. He's a spirit. It's not a person. Allah. It's not a thing. Right. Allah is Allah. Allah is everything, So, and this is a flaw in Christianity to think of God as a he. It's ridiculous. I mean, God has a penis. What does he do with his penis? Seriously, just think of it through to the end. What does God do with his penis? Does he go and have a piss every day? Does he have sex? Does he masturbate? What? It becomes ridiculous. No, I'm just saying. It's because of this patriarchy and the foolishness that has made God into a he, and we're in God's image, which is just vanity and ego. It's not actually a feasible conception to think of a deity in this way. So by Muslims and Islam, by them never using this and insisting that's why you can't draw a picture of Allah, because it's spirit and energy. It's why there's such a big deal about it. It's a sensibility that shows up, the lack of sensibility in Christianity, which is why many in Christianity demonize Islam, because by contrast, it shows up Christianity to have some flaws and foolishnesses.
But you see, there are similarities in everything you've just said to Muslim and to me and to mine.
Yeah.
And those are, my gods have the title God and Goddess, which would be gender pronouns, but it's not put in a hierarchy status. It's doing duality. That's what it's all about. It's about duality. And when you speak to somebody who's far more versed and practiced it for such a longer time than me, you'll actually hear them say, Thor doesn't really have a sex. Thor will always appear to you as a male figure because that's how you perceive it. Put a god on a physical level and being able to see, touch, feel, and hear that god, you would have to bring that god into a physical state of being. And when a god goes, oh, I'm going to visit you in your dream, how do you perceive me? They look into you and see how you perceive them. And then they will take that and turn it into something so that they can have a contact with you. Being in a relationship with a deity is a very personal one.
Oh yeah.
People say that the moon is a goddess. The moon is called Luna, and she is a goddess. She is a shy goddess. And if you talk to her, she'll withdraw in beneath the clouds, and she will talk, and she'll be bashful. And when the more you talk to her, the more she'll come out of those clouds, and she will shine a light on you. And you flick a penny, a silver penny towards her and blow her a kiss. Yeah, you look like an idiot, but Luna likes that. Luna will give you positive karma for that because you stopped and talked to her. Luna will give you. So I've done that. But then when I got into my own spirituality, the moon became not a girl, but a boy. The moon is now called Mani. Mani isn't shy. Mani isn't bashful. But when I spoke to the moon, it became very shy and withdrawn. And it acted like, but now it acts like Mani. Why? Because the moon is looking into how I perceive it. And is tuning itself to me personally and how I do it. And that is spirituality at its finest. The gods don't have a gender. They look how you perceive them and then act accordingly.
Exactly. And it is a necessary mechanism for communication.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. How would we connect to the ineffable? How do we communicate with the ineffable? It's not really possible. So we have to manifest it into some particularity in order to communicate. So the he, the she, whatever, it's just for communication purposes, really.
Exactly.
Connectivity.
And like he said, how do you connect to it?
You can't unless you make some particularness to it. Exactly.
We can't personally connect to it, but it can connect to us.
Yes.
So it changes itself according to the individual, which is why there are so many stories of different gods and goddesses in different cultures.
Exactly.
Because they all perceive them differently. But
in other words, it's about pertinence and relevance. The
God and goddess became God, Jesus, and Mary.
Right. Because the pertinence and relevant, it's whatever is that enables you to connect. What is pertinent and relevant to you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what in The Alchemist, what we were talking about when we were talking about omens and the language of the world, the language of the heart. It is always about pertinence and relevance to you as the individual. That language, that connectivity to the world, to the universe, to entities and forces and powers, it changes. It varies, even within yourself. Because today, you see one thing one way, and tomorrow you see it a different way. And it's always about that particular pertinence and relevance in the now. Say again?
I could actually use your help with something.
Oh, sure.
Spiritually. I mean,
yeah, I'm listening.
Because you're always in that mindset of trying to perceive something differently.
Yes, I like perspective shifting.
There's one of my deities that you have to exact caution with, because this deity is very unpredictable. It's a she. Well, it's perceived as a she.
Yes. The angle of contact is via she.
Yeah. In this context, it will be a goddess or it's a she.
Yeah.
And she is called the twin-faced goddess. She has two personas.
Wow. Okay.
She, I suppose you could say, has a multiple personality disorder.
I love that.
Her name is Hala.
Mm-hmm.
She is called the Shadow. because she is the shadow over life. She presides over death. And when you invoke her and you feel her, you do feel a sense of dread. Even if you're not scared of death and see it as a positive thing, you get this sense of dread, this sense of unpredictability, this sense of, I need to be careful.
Interesting.
And as I said before about perception and perceiving things, my mum, when she perceives the same deity but calls this deity by a different name, she calls it Hades. Right?
Ah, she calls Hela Hades?
Yes, Hala to mum is Hades, the god of the dead.
Interesting.
For me, it's Hala, the goddess of the dead.
Interesting.
And that's what I mean by perception. But when you invoke a deity that presides primarily over the deceased, you always get this sense of dread, this sense of caution.
Because of the associated moods and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like when I call on a different god, like if I call on Thor, I get this sense of masculinity, I get this sense of protection, comfort. When I do it with Odin, I get this sense of humor, this sense of taking things lightly, and nothing's very serious.
Ah, very cool, very cool.
And when you do it with Loki, you get this sense of mischievousness, this sense of gullibility, this sense of, haha, this is going to be humorous. I could be the butt of the joke, but it's to not take it seriously, it's to take it as a joke. And it's left me with this unwillingness and desire, this lack of desire of wanting to contact this deity, to have a relationship with this deity, because of the unpredictability, the caution, and the sense of dread.
Interesting. So you're looking to make peace with dread?
I'm looking to try and find a common ground spiritually with this deity, and with your whole perception shifting abilities. I was hoping that could come in useful in helping me.
Yeah. Oh, this is really magical. So if you connect to this, if you are saying that if I understand this correctly, like more what you mean rather than what you say, the intent behind this, you are looking to connect in a way where you are saying, I want to learn to be able to feel dread without having dread overcome me.
Yeah, almost like to look into the fire, leap into the fire without thinking about it.
Yeah. So you want to see dread as kind of a gift, yeah.
It's more on the lines of that because I'm really serious about my whole spirituality. I don't want to end up having a relationship with every deity apart from one. Like I said to you before, death has this very good wisdom about it. In order to connect with that wisdom, and in order to connect to those lessons, and to know that who will be looking after me when I'm dead, as in my soul, on my soul level.
All right, so you just put yourself, perspective shift, and put yourself in Hela's shoes, and say, everybody wants to talk to the gods, but they want to bloody waste their time because they want to ask you for favors and gifts, and they want to share their complaints and petty nonsense with you and all this crap. It's fucking waste my time. How do I ensure that those who come to me and talk to me are serious and earnest and for real and not full of bullshit and nonsense and crap? How do I ensure this? I need to make a gateway. I need to make a filter that filters out the ridiculous, the petty, the complainers, the bullshitters, the idiots. I need this filter. What would be the most ideal filter? Dread. What a fantastic filter. Those who cannot overcome and get past the dread. How serious are you really? Not very. If you're really serious, if you're really earnest, if your connectivity and your desire to connect with Hela is really, really sincere, and you have a profound sobriety as to why the dread is going to be simply something that you're going to say, I'm going to push through it. I don't care. I don't care if I'm going to feel this dread. I want to talk. So it is a filter mechanism to ensure that only the legitimate get there. All right. Rachel, I'm just going to pause a second. I have to answer a request, a chat thing that's actually very important.
That's good, because that it can give me like an ability, a space of time to think about what you've just said. How would I, yeah. I just have a little think about it. You do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So this is, you see, there's a logic to that thread. That is a necessary mechanism. It's that filter. It is there to say, are you for real, Rachel? Are you for real? And you are.
I know that mythology, if we take mythology to a spiritual level, it's a way and it's a guideline, basically. This is how these gods, in these personas and under these names, this is how the universe will react to me if I contact it, basically. And in the mythologies of Hala, particularly, there aren't very many, but when you do have the ones that you have, there seems to be this common theme where it's like the dead shouldn't contact the living almost. I don't know if that's the Christian version of heathenism when it was being Christianized, where you live your life and you don't talk to spirits, and getting them used to that idea, or if it goes back to the whole when death contacts the living, the body will cease to function while death is looming over. And I don't know if that's just because of someone's artistic way of describing how they would communicate. I don't know if this is a tale of caution, where if you're going to talk to death regularly when your time has not come, that there will be some kind of shortening of your life because it's death and the human body isn't equipped for that. Or if it's all just bullshit. And I mean, when, like I said, in that dream, I believe that dream, I feel more comfortable when Hala takes the form of the Grim Reaper. That seems to be more comfortable than talking to Hala in Hala's form, in Hala's way. You know?
You're going to have to repeat that. 1 second, I was typing. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. It's just I'm asking somebody to use their house. And I need access to a house on a specific date, so it's just important.
It's fine. I just thought because you
I just I was kind of halfway through, but I shouldn't do that. I should just like keep complete. So
No.
I'm cueing you that it's okay. Yeah, it's my bad. I just like to fill the dead times. So while I wait for the response, just say again what you just said.
I said mythology in a spiritual context can give you an idea of how the universe will react to you if you contact it under certain names, like heathen gods, like Odin. If I choose to contact Odin, then Odin will react to me according to the mythologies that surround Odin, because that's tradition. That's what the universe does.
That's the cueing, in other words. Yeah.
Basically, so this is basically what to expect. And with Hala, there are mythologies. There aren't very many, because I don't know if it goes back to when heathenry was being Christianized. And Christians have this moral of don't contact spirits and don't contact dead.
They're scared of it, yeah.
Yeah, underlying fear of the Grim Reaper. Wow. But I seem to feel more comfortable when Hala takes the form of the Grim Reaper than to use Hala's own form, or
Excellent.
use the Hala form.
Excellent. And the reason probably you're comfortable with it is because in the Grim Reaper form, there's a profound leveraging effect. So you're utilizing that to self-leverage you, to say, hey, I need to really be in contact with my mortality and feel it. Why? Because it leverages and motivates and stimulates me to actually do shit and not just fucking lie around on my ass all day and do bugger all. Right? So we use it as this motivating mechanism for connecting to the more of ourselves, to evolve and learn and grow and all this stuff. So it's very powerful, that aspect, to leverage it. Very useful, very potent. Very magical.
And that's the whole thing, because if Hala, she has two sides of her. One side of her is like very innocent, wise, beautiful, and graceful, while the other side of her is quite dark, and that's why she has two faces, basically, because she has one body, and one side is really beautiful, young, and everything that you would desire in a female, while the other side is the decaying corpse. and the decaying corpse side is the viciousness of death, the guts hanging out, the stripping back of the human form, the death in mortality, basically. And that's how I see it. I see it as duality. I see Hala as the goddess of the dead, but at the same time, her form depicts both life and death.
Yes, and when we truly understand death and embrace death, we live living to the most profound. Right.
I'm not scared of death, which is why when you listen to how people describe the Grim Reaper, I can disconnect from that and see that as more, you're just scared of death, and it's actually more positive than that.
Right, but what I mean by understand and embrace, it's not about not being scared, because fools aren't scared of death either. They're just fools.
Yeah, that's true.
So it is truly to understand the leveraging power of death, because death also tells you, hey, you know what, you don't know what the hell. Maybe there is bloody a hell that you could end up with if you're not paying attention. So we want to set ourselves, we don't know, so we can't ignore death and say on either way, we have to pay attention to death. This is the whole point of death. That's why death enhances life, to truly understand and connect and to leverage death. Yeah?
Well, it's a little less of that, and I suppose it's more on the lines of the dark nature of a god. I mean, you can't defend against a god, can you? With an evil spirit, you can, you can exercise them, you can do all sorts of stuff to get rid of them.
Right.
When it comes to a deity, nothing's going to work. And I don't know if it's because I have this fear or instinctual need as a human being, one that needs to be embraced rather than denied, which is the fear of things that threaten survival, where death is positive for me, but it's more like to do with the goddess herself rather than what she rules over or what she is. And I think it's her darker nature, her more vindictive side, that I will destroy anyone if they wrong me side. You know? I mean, when it comes to Thor talking about Hala herself, Hala's supposed to be the person that, for Ragnarok, basically, she's the harbinger of the end. So there will be a fear of when Odin speaks about Hala. When any of the Aesir will speak about Hala, they will speak about her in the way that she brings the end. She's the harbinger of Ragnarok. She's the one that kills the gods, essentially.
Oh, sorry, 1 second.
I just feel that she has some not knowledge but wisdom about her.
Yeah.
That'd be very, very beneficial towards life and living.
All right. So yeah, you know, the only way to defend against the god, of course, is to become one yourself.
Yeah, which is never going to happen.
And why not?
Not in the actual literal sense. Not in a literal sense.
But why not?
Because humans are too naive and foolish.
As humans, yes. But this is the point. If we keep evolving, don't we evolve into gods?
No.
I feel we do. Or can. Not in
the literal. I mean, I get it in the metaphorical sense.
Yeah.
But
well,
not in the literal
I personally do feel that if we evolve sufficiently, we can intend and shift our energy configuration to actually literally become gods in that same sphere.
Okay, I will play it in this sense then. As a human, no.
Yeah, as a human, no.
When you come to an end, I believe we're all on a spiritual journey to becoming spiritual beings.
Exactly.
But whilst you're in a human state, like you right now, you will never, right now at this moment, be able to reach God.
Correct.
Levels.
Right. So we have to transcend. Exactly.
Yeah, you have to ascend rather than transcend. Because it strips away your identity, it strips away you and everything you've learned in life.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you're not that person. So no, as a human, you can't. When you ascend, you become human. You become
we will no longer be human at that point. Exactly.
Exactly. So therefore, we'll never ascend. We'll never be gods as humans.
No. But that's what I said. We have to learn to become gods, not gods as humans, but to become gods, to leave our humanity behind completely.
Yeah, exactly. So you ascend to something different. So you know, as a human now. I have a funny story about that. That song.
I tend to tune them out anyway.
That song was funny though. You're always on my mind.
Interesting. I was listening because I was typing.
Last time we heard that song, it was in Practical Magic.
All right. They're gonna come back to me later. They're on the move. They're at the airport. So
Okay.
yeah. So just to recap everything, the main point of connectivity and focus, it it is dealing with the dread. The dread is the issue.
Yeah, it can be very overwhelming because it's connected to something that takes life, isn't it?
Right. Okay. Yes, I agree. Actually, in the workshop that we do, and it's come up here in this conversation. That's why I want the use of the house so I can have a shower. I don't have access to a shower right now, so that's really the point. but so that I can refresh, because we're doing our perspective shifting workshop at a retreat, and it's perspective shifting for self-discovery. And in that, one of the questions we ask is, what do you dread? It's a very profound, very powerful question. And dealing with dread, like in this case, you're saying it's the overwhelmingness that's the issue. So this, to me, it shifts somewhat now. Now it becomes a mood management and a perspective shifting issue, which is huge, right? So, and one of the profound things for dealing with overwhelming emotions is to be aware, really be acutely aware that what we feel is not necessarily our own. So just because I feel it doesn't mean I have to own it. We can feel what is not us. So I can feel dread that is external to me. It doesn't mean that because I am experiencing this external dread that I necessarily have something to dread. So in other words, and if I look at this from this conception and point of view of Hella, Hella's putting this profound dread out there, just dread in general, not dread of anything specific. It is a discernment and a perspective shifting mechanism, filter, test, if you were, to say, you know what? You have to develop the discernment and the ability to be able to see that there are feelings and things out there that can make you feel in certain ways, but they don't belong to you. Just because you are feeling dread as a capital D dread doesn't mean you personally have something in particular to dread. You might, but not necessarily, right? So it is really a huge thing. Say again?
Like, when you see somebody who's dangerous, like they look dangerous.
Yeah.
When they talk to you, you get the sense of them being a soft kitten.
Yes.
Or when you talk to someone who's a soft kitten, you get the sense of this person being dangerous. It's the aura that gives it away. So I suppose her aura is one of dread.
Yeah.
So that when she comes to you, you sense her aura, her on the spirituality.
Right. And to leverage that, but because Hella's also saying, yes, I'm not your playmate. I'm not somebody to casually waste your time with. If you want to come and talk to me, you got to be on your toes. You got to be sharp. You got to have some courage. You've got to be totally, totally, totally impeccable. No fucking around with me, right? So yeah, you're gonna come. Yeah, you're gonna be shaking in your boots, but you're gonna hold your ground.
Then that puts her in a different light, doesn't it?
Yes. And Hella's saying this is appropriate. Yes, you do need to be shaking in your boots with me, but yet not backing away either. You're gonna hold your ground because you are here. You get it exactly.
It's a case of you need to be shaking in your boots, but don't piss your pants.
Yes, it's in other words, this is the impeccability that we are all about. To come to that point of being where we can be shaking in our boots, but be speaking to Hella. This is impeccable because we have our fundamentals. When we have our fundamentals, our core underpinnings at hand, yes, we experience what's coming, but I'm holding on to my sobriety. I'm holding on to my impeccability. I'm holding on to my earnestness, my seriousness, my total genuineness. This is it. So I know because I'm being impeccable, I know I'm in the appropriate space. I know what I'm doing is right according to me. If I die because of it, so be it. Doesn't matter. But I cannot not be there. This is the point. I cannot not be there. No matter how much I may fear it and stress, I cannot not be in that spot. This is impeccability in action. So Hella is profoundly leveraging your impeccability. So it's not about not feeling it. It is about actually feeling it, but doing it anyway. This is huge, Rachel. This is huge, man. This is just absolutely huge. I just love this.
I suppose it's ready now.
Brilliant. Let me see. This is something special. This is something. Your thing with Hella is special. This drawing of Beena is very special. Oh, please send. Oh, it just makes my heart so just it bounds. My heart gets into bounding.
Just gonna thingy it a little bit.
Yeah. See, when you zoom out, I see the shine as meant to be. When it's close, then it looks different. I love that. It's very cool.
And click send.
And click send. I love that. Oh, you're gonna make Beena very happy, and I like it that you make Beena very happy. You know, there are some people in the world, Rachel, that they need to be happy, and it's our job to make sure they are happy. Olivia is one such person, and Beena is another. When they're happy, pretty much the whole world is happy. You and I, if we're unhappy or whatever, it's our business. Right? It doesn't really make too much difference in the world. But people like Olivia and Beena, it does. So it's our job to make sure they are happy. I don't know. That's just my personal feeling and view and viewpoint. There's no real logic or sensibility to it, just the way I feel. You know, for some of us, I don't think it really matters. Yes, of course, we all need to be happy, but I don't think it's so imperative. You know, like with them, it's somehow their happiness is connected to the world's happiness, where ours is somewhat independent. You know, my sobriety is connected to the world. I need to be sober. I need to be earnest. Yes, that makes a difference. Yes, yes, and my conceptuality. You know, when I think things through and I bring new concepts into awareness, those actually do then come into the world as well. Like this conversation that we just had. There's this connectivity to understanding dread in this particular context. It's out there now. It's an understanding that's out there, and others can tap into it. I don't know how they do, but just because, well, you know, I guess in the energy world, it's all connected. It's like you put it out on the internet and somebody's searching for it, they'll find it. But there's that goes out in the energy sphere, it goes that way. So that's my job as an elucidator. This is what I'm doing. I'm bringing things from the vagueness, the roughness, the mixed upness, and I'm making it kind of accessible. I'm putting it where you can, you know, you can search a lot of crap on the internet, but it's so you get results, but sometimes, you know, they're so messed up and confused that you can't really utilize it. But when you get nice, clear, focused results, I can use this. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm just making the search results a little bit clearer. But when you search on the energy, you know, when you search via intent, in other words, and you do the same thing in your own way, but you know, via other means. So very interesting, very interesting, Rachel. Very interesting, because you too are an elucidator in your own way. Ah, what a picture! What a picture! It's okay. No worries. No worries. Ah. Mhm. Open this thing. Come on. Fuck, man. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Ah, it's Rachel. Brilliant, brilliant. I wasn't sure. Very cool. Yeah, my friend just got back to me, so I'm reluctant to leave and be, without internet while she's still talking. But when she's done, then I'm gonna move because I have to eat, and then I'm just gonna go to the library. I try not to stay in the same place, you know.
Okie dokie.
So I'm good still for a little while. I'm just so you know how it works. So.
Yeah. Me now, I've got to go in a minute anyway because my tea's ready.
Brilliant. Well, it's nice to have a chance to say, nice goodbyes. I like to leave things on a good goodbye. It's very important. I know hellos and goodbyes are very profoundly important because they tie up and they wrap up the energy. I mean, hellos set the tone and the mood, and they open the door, and goodbyes finalize it and complete it and package it. So it's energy management. Yeah.
What if
Yeah.
I walked over to you and went hello, goodbye, and then walked away?
Oh, that would be very profound. That would be really magical. Wow. That would be something. That would be very special because if it was done, with both of them being earnest and sincere, then it would just be I'm connecting, and I've opened the door and I'm finalizing it, and our connectivity was complete and pure and fantastic, all within itself. That would be very magical. That would be really special.
So what if I said hello, goodbye, and then walked away from you in like a 2 split second, and then started following you in the street?
That would be okay too. I mean, it for me, when I just observe the people here, I don't look at them to say, like most people, oh, he's interesting, he's successful, he's rich, he's poor, she's this, she's that. I don't, they tend to look to categorize. No,
Yeah.
what I look at intent. Say, what is the intent? So all I see is I just see different intents. And when we look at intent, very different. So if you came and you did that, first of all, you would have alerted me that to say, oh, you know what? Yes, somebody who's a little bit different, a bit sophisticated. And in the hello and the goodbye, I would see your good intent. So if you're following me, I think, okay, you know, for whatever reason, this is necessary and important. They want to observe, they want to pay attention. Who knows? I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You know, I live my life publicly. So I always have, you know, no matter how private I am, I live as if I am in public. All my life I've lived that way. So I have no problem. No problem at all.
Oh no.
What?
I think because my computer closed down so quickly, it's corrupted the file.
It seems like it, but you'll be able to pull it back up. It just seems that way.
Well, it's currently not letting me.
Oh, wow.
Oh shit.
No, damn.
I just told her as well that I've just finished it. Oh,
Yeah, she's probably sleeping by now already, so don't worry about it.
she's just messaged me saying thank you so
Oh,
much.
she's still up. Oh, wow, she's still up. It's late for her. It's 1 o'clock in the morning over there.
Fuck's sake.
Well,
I'm gonna have to redo it.
I was recording that, Rachel. So if nothing else, we can do a screenshot off of the recording.
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah. If it is corrupted, but let's hope it is.
It's not letting me load it back up. It just keeps saying something's gone wrong, and I don't know how to save it. As in, like, restore. I think because it cut off so quickly in the middle of its.
If you've just started up your computer, I would say just wait a while. Let all the background files finish loading and all that stuff. Just give it a bit of time. And also when you off Zoom, because Zoom takes quite a bit of resources, and Facebook too, close down both Facebook and Zoom, and then try. You know, and while after the computer's had some time to kind of set.
I'll load up a different picture to see if that is the case or.
Right.
Fucking difficulties. Oh.
Hey, pal.
No, it seems to be loading other projects. It's just not loading that one picture.
Interesting. Yeah, it might just be that it has more data in it or something. It's taking a little longer.
It's just saying it can't read the file because it's corrupted or something.
What is the exact message it's saying?
Can't read the file. Something's gone wrong.
Interesting. Is the file still open right now or not?
I mean, I can see the file there and it looks like it's the full picture, but when I click on it to load it up, it just won't load.
Okay, so I got you. Okay, so a couple of things I'd recommend then. Close that particular program entirely and then completely restart your computer and then try again.
Right. And just going to check to see if closing down the program and opening it will work.
Yeah, well, that's usually the first step, and then second step, reboot the computer, and then there are things that can see to remedy a corrupted file. There are programs that can help you uncorrupt a corrupted file.
Not unless there'll be another way, because if I can see the picture there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to screenshot it.
It may just be that sometimes, that's why I said close the program and reboot, because they keep, even if you close the program, it keeps some of the file in RAM, and you might just have like 2 copies trying to coexist or something of that nature. You see?
That would mean going into safe mode.
No, you don't have to go into safe mode. Just when you reboot, it will clear your RAM, and so that's why things typically work nicely. You see, so it just may just have it, just stored in the temporary memory,
From a different source. Could you manage to screenshot it?
I will. Not right now. I'll have to go through the. I'll have to. I don't have access to the recording here now. When I end the meeting, then it will convert the file into a recording, and I'll upload it to YouTube, and then you can access it on YouTube, and then you can just scroll through it, and you can screenshot it. It'll be a lot easier. So, but it's going to take a little bit to get there, and I'll do that when I move, when I get to the library, because it takes some time to upload it onto YouTube, and to convert it also takes some time. So I'll do that a little later. Oh.
Right, I don't know what I'm going to tell her in the meantime, because I've told her it's all ready and that I was going to send it over, but now it's not letting me send it over. I don't know what I'm going to say to her.
No, don't worry. Just tell her that the file didn't save properly, and that it'll have to be a bit later. That's all. That's all. Yeah, I can't do it right now. It's going to take like a half an hour just to convert the file. Even if I were to then look at it myself on my local computer and screenshot and send to you, it's still going to take at least half an hour to convert the recording into a usable file. So I just tell her what happened. Beena's very cool. She's no problem. Don't worry about it. Well, that's assuming that you can't access that file. Maybe you can still. So next thing to try is just to reboot the computer. That file, what kind of a file is it, Rachel?
It says in a minute. I try and get it into JPEG, if you can pull it in JPEG.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, send me the file, and I'll see if I can open it.
It's not letting me send it because it's saved inside the program itself.
Right.
The only thing I can do is try and open it, and it's not letting me open it. And the only other thing
yeah. So just try. I'll leave the meeting open, but you leave the meeting, reboot your computer, and come back again, and then reopen that program, and see what happens.
Okay, I'm about to.
But close the program, and then exit Zoom, and close all your other programs too, like Facebook and everything. Close everything.
I'm about to close it then.
Okay. I'll see you in a little bit then. I'll see you in a little bit.
Never know.
Hi.
Hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world. Hello, hello, hello.
It doesn't work.
Oh. Dang nabbit. Okay, so I have a few other recordings, but I'll skip this one to the head of the queue. So, Rachel, as soon as I'm going to move. It doesn't take me long to eat, and then I'll move, and I'll upload it right away. So as soon as possible, I'll let you know. And then you have access to the file, and then you can find it to the screenshot and get it connected and everything. Okay?
Okay. Well, I've tried doing that myself, but unfortunately it looked blurry and horrible.
Doing what?
Taking a screenshot of it.
Oh, but this will be off of I'm going to put the video on YouTube for you to access. I'll send you the link.
No, I mean, like, when I load up the thing, I can see the picture that's apparently still there. And I tried screenshotting that picture and then clipping it down, but it went blurry.
Okay. Yeah. From the recording, you should be able to get a good, clear quality screenshot. So yeah. Okay. And I can send the link to the recording to Beena as well, and she can do the same. Right, if you don't mind our recording being shared with Beena.
Well, I'm trying to. It says if I delete it, I can recover it, but I don't know how to do that. So I have now actually deleted it.
Oh, okay. So recover it and see what happens.
I'm trying to, but I'm not seeing the option there where it's supposed to be. I think I might have just deleted it permanently.
Yeah. Well, go to your what do they call it? The bin, the
recycle bin.
Yeah.
Just been in that. Just in that, it's not there.
Wow. That's a bit odd, isn't it?
No idea what's going on.
Yeah, it's a little weird. That's very interesting. Okay, Rachel. In this sense, when we have this stuff, I mean, sometimes the reality is corrupted because the computer did die while it was still up and open. So there's a good chance that it is so. But you still have the previous version of the file, or no?
No, it's saved over the previous version, so it's completely gone.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll get you at least a copy of it. That you can send as a picture to Beena, and that's been the intent and objective. So let me go so that I can get onto this right away.
Okay. There's
So
no rush. I've told her that it'll be done later. I'll send it to her later, but it's corrupted and I'm trying to recover it.
Yeah,
so
it's a bit of a rush for me, and as soon as I'm at the library and I have internet again, it will start converting, and then I'll upload it. So we're looking at a couple hours at best. So
send me the link of the video.
Yeah. Yes, correct. Yeah, it's I'm in a hurry to do it now because it's to me. So it's just things have their own urgency sometimes. It's just the appropriateness of attunement. So brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Talk to you later, Rachel. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
All right. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Brilliant.